Chapter 416 The Gift of the Supreme Being. Please subscribe. _2 Lin Yuan's expression changed slightly. Ha ha ha, you little fellow, don't be nervous. It's not an uncommon thing for your spirit will to have experienced more years than your physical soul. Many attributed talents can achieve this, such as eternal dream, time chamber, and so on. Xia Qin Supreme Being shook his head with a smile. As a supreme being, one could go against the flow of the river of time, naturally being able to slow the passage of time. In the blink of an eye on the outside, one could experience millions of years. Or, while millions of years pass by on the outside, only a moment goes by for oneself. Moreover, many attributed abilities can also do this, mostly related to time. Eternal Dream. Time Chamber. Lin Yuan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although he didn't know the specifics, since the Supreme Being said so, it must be related to the flow of time. Indeed. For a Supreme Being, controlling time isn't a difficult task. Even the dead can be resurrected, so what is accelerating or slowing the passage of time? Of course, when it comes to the speed of time, only supreme beings or those who have mastered the complete rule of time can do it, belonging to the most top-tier abilities and opportunities. Judging by the passage of years of your spirit will, you should be about 2,000 years old. Xia Qin Supreme Being looked at Lin Yuan and said. Supreme Being. Lin Yuan heard this and didn't speak. Ha 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 ha, are you now thinking that your name as a genius is going to be gone? Teased Xia Qin Supreme Being. Indeed, Lin Yuan nodded. You don't need to think like that, Xia Qin Supreme Being said. If you live long enough, you can step into the 8th layer. How could our human alliance's 8th layer only consist of so little? Besides, the goddess of wisdom said you are the founder of an evolution path, and the path you have opened has tremendous potential. Under the condition of continuously pioneering evolution paths, merely having a spirit will age of 2,000 years and achieving this much, in human civilization history, your talent is enough to rank in the top 20 or top 10. Xia Qin Supreme Being said with a smile. If Lin Yuan's spirit will age were the same as his physical primordial spirit, only a little over 30 years old, he would have doubted if there was some other background to Lin Yuan. A little over 30 years old, stepping into the 8th layer, pioneering an evolution path with tremendous potential, it just couldn't be done. Even the Supreme Being would find it absurd. The top 20 or top 10 in human civilization history, Lin Yuan blinked his eyes. Such an evaluation was terrifyingly high. This was the history of human civilization, the Starry Sea era that spanned over 2 million years. How many prodigies and monsters had human civilization produced? Even including the 9 supreme beings, being able to rank in the top 20 or top 10 meant he was at the very top just below the supreme beings, right? Hearing Xia Qin Supreme Being's evaluation of himself, Lin Yuan couldn't help feeling a bit smug, but he quickly recovered. No matter how strong the talent, if it could not be converted into strength, it was meaningless. In the 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, many evolvers had the potential to become supreme beings, but in the end, human civilization only had 9 supreme beings. Having an attributed talent like Eternal Dream can indeed give a great advantage in the early stages of cultivation, but that's about it. At the 7th or 8th rank, such abilities are no longer so critical, Xia Qin Supreme Being stated. So-called Eternal Dream is experiencing thousands of years within a dream, a feat easily achievable by a Supreme Being. Even if Lin Yuan used abilities like Eternal Dream, just taking a little over 2,000 years to reach his current point still couldn't conceal his heaven-defying talent. That was why Xia Qin Supreme Being rated Lin Yuan among the top 20 or top 10 in the entire history of human civilization. Understood, Lin Yuan said softly. In fact, the traveling ability of the door to the myriad realms was far from as simple as Eternal Dream. Traversing to a world, absorbing the essence of that world's cultivation system, and perceiving the fluctuations of many rules across different dimensions and planes. This was far more precious than the speed of time. Xia Qin Supreme Being had only noticed that something was off with the passage of Lin Yuan's spiritual time but had yet to discover the existence of the door to the myriad realms. With your talent and aptitude, there shouldn't be too big of an obstacle in the practice at the 8th layer level, but when it comes to the final fusion rules, you have to think carefully, said Xia Qin Supreme Being. The fusion rules here are not ordinary fusion among rules, but a fusion between pillar rules and other rules. You must carefully consider which rules to integrate with the pillar rules, Xia Qin Supreme Being advised. Thank you for your guidance, Supreme Being, Lin Yuan nodded. The so-called pillar rules refer to the space rules, rule of time, rules of life, and so on. Now that you have stepped into the 8th layer, I presume you are about to head to the fringe starfield to preside for 500 years. Xia Qin Supreme Being looked at Lin Yuan. Yes, Lin Yuan nodded. But I haven't chosen which star domain yet, Lin Yuan said. The fringe starfield is fraught with danger, therefore, I will give you a treasure, Xia Qin Supreme Being said. Don't refuse. Do you think you are strong? Have the doppelganger skill? Or that with our intervention and resurrection, you will not die? Xia Qin Supreme Being looked at Lin Yuan and shook his head. The doppelganger skill is not foolproof, and the method of resurrection does not bring back everything, Xia Qin Supreme Being continued. For instance, with memory contamination, no matter how many avatars you will have to die. After resurrection, as long as the memory remains, you will still have to die. Memory contamination, Lin Yuan's expression grew solemn. Such methods, with more restrictive conditions than curse-killing skill, would be difficult for even a 10th rank being to apply to him, given his current strength. I will bestow upon you a treasure, called the soul-settling pearl. Even if a supreme being attempts memory contamination on you or uses other means, you will be able to persist for an instant. At that moment, detonate yourself immediately and wait for me to resurrect you, Xia Qin Supreme Being spoke calmly. Can it withstand a supreme being for an instant? Lin Yuan was shocked. What existence were supreme beings? Their attacks were unpredictable and profound. For example, if an alien strong one wanted to kill Lin Yuan before he met Xia Qin Supreme Being, it would not be too difficult. It could even be a permanent kill, beyond the scope of resurrection. But supreme beings have their pride. Presently, to the outside world, Lin Yuan was just an 8th layer being under 100 years old, not warranting a supreme being's intervention. If it were revealed that Lin Yuan was not only an 8th layer being under 100 years old but also the founder of the martial path evolutionary path, the situation might change. Remember, once the soul-settling pearl is activated passively, you must not hesitate to choose self-detonation. Do not delay, Xia Qin Supreme Being said gravely. As long as Lin Yuan had not been subjected to memory contamination or the like, Xia Qin Supreme Being would be able to resurrect him, leaving the essentials unharmed. But once memory contaminated, just like the heart demon tribulation, even a supreme being could not remove all, meaning even after resurrection, death would still ensue. Understood, Lin Yuan said in a deep voice. What Xia Qin Supreme Being was considering were the extreme situations Lin Yuan might face. Under normal circumstances, a supreme being would not intervene. If an alien supreme being took action to erase a human prodigy, then the supreme beings of human civilization would also intervene, erasing the geniuses of the different species. In that case, no one would dare venture out. Unless the alien supreme being saw in Lin Yuan the hope of becoming a supreme being. Otherwise, it would not even bother to pay attention. And while there have been several 8th layer evolvers under 100 years old throughout the history of human civilization, very few ultimately touched the realm of supreme beings. Xia Qin Supreme Being was aware that Lin Yuan was the founder of the martial path evolutionary path, and as the founder, having no path laid out before him yet still reaching this point, there certainly was potential for him to become a supreme being. But Xia Qin Supreme Being knew what the alien supreme beings did not. Within the whole human civilization, Only 3 goddesses and 9 supreme beings knew that Lin Yuan was the founder of the martial path evolutionary path. The soul-settling pearl will be delivered to you as soon as possible. Xia Qin Supreme Being gestured dismissively and proceeded to send Lin Yuan away from the virtual world. After Lin Yuan had vanished, Xia Qin Supreme Being's smile began to fade. I hope you grow up successfully. Xia Qin Supreme Being looked towards the last spot where Lin Yuan had stood, with a glimmer of anticipation in his eyes. Chapter 4:17 Choosing a Star Domain, end of this volume. Please subscribe. Consciousness returned to reality. Scenes of Lin Yuan's exchange with the Xia Qin Supreme Being flashed through his mind. Supreme beings are too terrifying. Lin Yuan was astonished in his heart. Could they really discern the traces of his spirit will's passage through time solely with an avatar in the virtual world? But the door to the myriad realms, Lin Yuan was very certain, the Xia Qin Supreme Being had not detected the door to the myriad realms at all. Although he had only traversed it 7 times, Lin Yuan indeed knew the immense value the door to the myriad realms held for human civilization. If human civilization controlled the door to the myriad realms, there would be no need to persist in wars with the surrounding peak clans. What was the purpose of the human civilization alliance constantly waging wars? Resources. It was all for resources. In the cosmic starry sky, resources are limited. If human civilization wanted to develop continuously, it would have to plunder resources ceaselessly. And this would inevitably lead to conflicts with other peak clans, thereby igniting wars. With the door to the myriad realms, human civilization could completely invade other dimensions and realms to acquire a vast amount of resources. Lin Yuan was very clear about this, but he would never take the initiative to disclose the existence of the door to the myriad realms. Human nature is unpredictable. In the face of absolute interests, no one can guarantee what they might do. Perhaps in the future, once Lin Yuan became a supreme being, or even surpassed them, he would use the door to the myriad realms to open pathways to other dimensional realms, allowing the evolvers of human civilization to go and pioneer new territories. As for now, Lin Yuan would absolutely not reveal the existence of the door to the myriad realms to anyone. This was Lin Yuan's biggest trump card. The Red Kuan lineage's Shirsan becoming an 8th layer was a sensational event for both the Qikuan Star Domain and the Annan Star Alliance. Especially considering that the Great Peak Master had also advanced to the 8th layer not long ago, it was not an exaggeration to say that the Red Kuan lineage's foundation had grown significantly with 2 more 8th layer individuals. As a result, the Red Kuan lineage decided to hold a grand ceremony to celebrate the birth of the 2 8th layer individuals. The celebration took place in the virtual world, and forces or lone evolvers with even a modicum of fame from the Annan Star Alliance and dozens of surrounding star alliances hurried over, making it much more magnificent than the reception when Lin Yuan advanced to the 6th rank. The Red Kuan lineage gaining a peak master was a big deal within the Qikuan Star Domain but not beyond it. However, the birth of an 8th rank evolver, especially a sub-century-old one like Lin Yuan, signified tremendous potential to every power, which was nothing short of terrifying. This was not the time to forego congratulations, as there might not be another chance later. Is that Hong Feng Star Lord? That's Wanyang Star Lord. Even the Golden Dragon Star Master has come. So many 8th layer Star Lords. Even the invincible ones of the 8th layer have arrived in large numbers. The scale of this. It's rivaling a Star Alliance level celebration, the guests discussed in low voices. These were big shots in their own star domains but quite ordinary here. Only the 8th layer Star Lords received a second glance at Shirsan's ceremony. As for the 7th and 6th rank evolvers, there were too many to take notice of them all. That must be Shirsan, so young. Indeed, it's amazing how he advanced to the 8th layer at such a young age. Of course, the guest of interest was Lin Yuan. While the Great Peak Master advancing to the 8th layer was impressive, it paled next to Shirsan. Lin Yuan sat at a table with his parents, with several tables next to them reserved for the Star Lords. So many important figures. Lin Yi looked left and right, feeling fortunate to be in the virtual world where the auras of the high-rank evolvers were suppressed. If this were reality, her being a lower-rank evolver would probably have made her tremble and feel uneasy merely with a glance. This was the oppression of the essence of life. Xiao Yuan, this, Father Lin Shouqing sighed. His son had achieved far too much. He had thought Lin Yuan becoming Shan of the Red Kuan lineage was already a stroke of ancestral fortune. But now, Lin Yuan had ascended to the 8th layer, and he was sub-century old at that. In recent times, countless massive powers from different star domains had contacted him either proactively or passively. Their goal was to ingratiate themselves with Lin Yuan. Xiao Yuan, I've heard that 8th rank evolvers need to go to the fringe starfield to take charge. Isn't that very dangerous? Mother Lu Qiong asked in a low voice, her tone full of concern. It is somewhat dangerous, but I can handle it, said Lin Yuan with a smile. Lin Yuan's true self was heading to the fringe starfield to take charge, while one incarnation as Yin spirit and Yang spirit was in the battlefields of different races, and the other in the Qikuan main star. Perfectly safe. The avatar methods of other evolvers only allowed the resurrection of incarnations while the true self was still alive. If the true self were to fall, then all of its avatars would fall as well. But Lin Yuan's martial Tao primordial spirit, in the strictest sense, was not an avatar. There was no need for the true self to be alive to condense the Yin spirit and Yang spirit. Even if the true self fell, the Yin and Yang spirits could still use the Taiji's ability to create all things to re-evolve a physical body. Moreover, with the physical body divine ability blood rebirth, there was no need for Lin Yuan to go through such trouble. Apprentice, come over here, beckoned Qikuan Star Lord's voice in Lin Yuan's ear. I'll be back in a moment, Lin Yuan said as he rose and gestured to his parents. These few are my good friends. They wanted to meet you. Qikuan Star Lord was chatting and laughing with several Star Lords. Upon seeing Lin Yuan approaching, he immediately introduced him. This is your young apprentice, one remarked. Truly terrifying potential, an 8th layer under 100 years old. Qikuan, you old rascal, your luck is too good, isn't it? Chapter 4:18 Choosing a Star Domain, end of this volume. Please subscribe, _21 Star Lord after another spoke. Lin Yuan had entered the 6th rank before the age of 100. Many of these Star Lords largely praised the Qikuan Star Lord for his brilliant methods of mentoring disciples. But now, Lin Yuan had entered the 8th rank before the age of 100. All the Star Lords changed their tune, considering the Qikuan Star Lord to be lucky. Several Star Lords even felt envious when they saw Lin Yuan, thinking that if they had received such a disciple, they could have done no worse than the Qikuan Star Lord. This was indeed the case. The Qikuan Star Lord knew his own family affairs. His guidance for Lin Yuan was actually quite minimal. Apart from providing material resources, the Qikuan Star Lord's mentoring did not exceed 5 times. Ha ha ha, what's the matter? Luck is also a type of strength. Not convinced? Try finding such a disciple yourself. The Qikuan Star Lord was in a good mood. Not only did he not refute, but he took pride in this fact. The celebration lasted several days. Lin Yuan quickly resumed his cultivation. The 8th layer part of the martial path evolutionary path focuses on the integration of rules. Lin Yuan thought quickly, a vast amount of spiritual light surged in his mind, contemplating the gains of that body segment and transformed them into a foundation at this moment, continuously propelling Lin Yuan to open up the 8th stage of martial arts. Rule integration must have a pillar rule. I will integrate Tai Yin Tai Yang rule with space rules. The foundation of the martial Tao that Lin Yuan cultivated was based on Tai Yin, Tai Yang, and Tai Ji. Therefore, in the 8th rank, the natural course was for Tai Yin and Tai Yang to integrate with the space rules. This was set as the path from the 2nd layer chapter, 3rd layer chapter in the martial path evolutionary path. Of course, other martial arts evolutionaries don't have to do it this way. They can choose their own paths without being confined to Tai Yin and Tai Yang. He ended his cultivation for the day. Lin Yuan began to go through the gifts that other evolutionaries had given him at the celebration. Since the Red Kuan lineage hosted the celebration, the participating evolutionaries, to some extent, expressed their goodwill. Especially for 13 Peak Master with infinite potential in the 8th rank, why not invest now rather than when 13 Peak Master is unmatched in the 8th rank and entering the 9th rank? By then, it would depend on whether they would even be accepted. Although investing now was adding icing to the cake, it was still better than not investing at all. All the gifts together amount to about 150,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan was in a good mood. This was much more than the gifts he received when he first advanced to a 7th level citizen. When Lin Yuan advanced to 7th level citizen, hiding his true identity, many evolutionaries were reluctant to invest too much. But now advancing to an 8th rank evolver, being an evolver under 100 years of age at the 8th rank, which evolver would dare to underestimate this? With my current universe crystals, plus several shares of income from the Martial Path evolutionary path, it's nearly 200,000 cubic. Lin Yuan's face revealed a smile. Universe crystals, being a universal currency among the 10,000 races of the cosmic starry sky, not only held monetary value but also practical value. 200,000 cubic universe crystals exceeded the wealth of ordinary 8th rank peak evolvers. Of course, the wealth of most 8th rank evolvers was concentrated in weapons and treasures. The number of universe crystals they held was not the main aspect. Lin Yuan looked up, gazing toward the outside of the Great Hall. 13 Peak Master. Lin Yuan stepped out of the Grand Hall and saw a gaunt man standing there. Who are you? Lin Yuan looked at the gaunt man, slightly startled inside. This man bore a striking resemblance to Nalan, the assistant tower master, who had recently destroyed the edge of the He-Yuan's secret realm with a flick of his fingers. Of course, Lin Yuan deduced through the video that the person was at least a 9th rank evolver, probably even stronger. After all, the He-Yuan clan also had 5 or 6 9th rank powerhouses stationed there, but in front of assistant tower master Nalan, these 5 or 6 9th rank powerhouses didn't even dare to leave the secret realm, watching helplessly as Nalan crushed a vast area of the realm's edge. It was only when the insect race powerhouses came to support that Nalan stopped and left. This is what the tower master asked me to give to you. Nalan smiled slightly and handed a metal box to Lin Yuan. All right. Lin Yuan's expression was solemn as he accepted the metal box. The tower master values you highly. It's been a long time since I saw the tower master treating a junior like this. Nalan smiled slightly, and his figure directly disappeared. Nalan, the deputy tower master. Lin Yuan's thoughts raced. Nalan, the deputy tower master, must be the one stationed at the evolution tower overseen by Xia Qin, the supreme being. The evolution tower overseen by Xia Qin, the supreme being, is countless light years away from Qikuan star domain. Even with continuous wormhole shuttling, it would take hundreds to thousands of years to reach, yet the deputy tower master arrived in just less than half a month. Lin Yuan felt a jolt of shock. It said that after fully comprehending the complete rule model of space, one can master wide-range relocation techniques, moving hundreds of thousands of light-years in just one step. But that is an ability only 9th rank evolvers can control, Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. At the edge of the human civilization territory, several immense wills penetrated through. Who was it, exactly, who detected Shirsan, the peak master of Red Kuan lineage's talent, and did not report it to the Insect Race Alliance immediately? The strongest of those wills suppressed its fury. If they had known earlier that Shirsan could step into the 8th rank before the age of 100, they would have done everything possible to eliminate him before he advanced to the 6th rank. As long as he was killed before reaching the 6th rank, even a supreme being couldn't bring him back to life. Those who didn't report on time are criminals of the Insect Race Alliance. The strongest will accuse the others. I'm not sure. Pan Yong was in charge of Chikuan Star Domain at that time, but he disappeared some time ago, and we have been unable to find him, said one of the wills immediately. Right, he just vanished suddenly, now there's no way to know why he didn't report back then. Vanished? Just like that, the strongest will clearly didn't believe it. As long as the person in question is missing, no evidence can be formed, and the insect race cannot punish the corresponding clan. I suspect those people were bribed by the human civilization early on, which is also a setback for us, said the third will immediately. Bribed? The strongest will remained expressionless. I will continue to report this matter. As for you clans, just wait, the strongest will said, then dissipated. On Chikuan main star. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Is this the soul-settling pearl? A treasure that can withstand a moment's attack from a supreme being? Lin Yuan opened the metal box, and a colorless, transparent pearl slowly floated up. It faintly radiated an extremely gentle power, making Lin Yuan's spiritual will feel as though it was soaking in a hot spring. Much more precious than an 8th rank spiritual defense treasure. No, even the origin fine gold given by the teacher can't compare, Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. Origin fine gold is indeed precious, possessing growth properties, but to grow it to the level of a supreme being, one would not know how many resources must be invested. The soul-settling pearl, however, must be a treasure at the level of a supreme being, otherwise, it couldn't block a supreme being's momentary attack. To know, a supreme being, mastering the complete rule of time, would kill an 8th rank evolver before they could even react, yet this soul-settling pearl could forcefully buy a momentary lapse of time. With that moment, Lin Yuan could choose to self-destruct. As long as he didn't receive memory contamination from a supreme being, so-called death, under the resurrection means of the supreme being, was merely like sleeping a while. I have Yang's spirit at Chikuan main star, even if I encounter a supreme being, I can just let my true self detonate without needing a supreme being's resurrection, Lin Yuan thought to himself inside. Regardless, it's always better to stay alive. Successfully refined the soul-settling pearl. Lin Yuan began to consider the matters he needed to face next. That was to choose a star domain on the periphery and then oversee it for 500 years. Most 8th rank evolvers oversee for far more than 500 years, like Chikuan Star Lord, who, having just advanced to the 8th rank, has been overseeing Chikuan Star Domain from that time until now, Lin Yuan thought internally. People have emotions, and so do evolvers. Let's take a look, choose which star domain to manage. Lin Yuan opened the map of the Human Alliance territory to closely examine it. An 8th rank evolver in charge of a peripheral area will have the authority to name it. Originally, Chikuan Star Domain was not called Chikuan Star Domain. After Chikuan Star Lord took charge, it became Chikuan Star Domain. This place is the one. Lin Yuan focused his attention on a certain location on the map. Chapter 419 Galaxy Master, please subscribe, it's you. Lin Yuan looked toward the edge of the map, at a star domain that had just been incorporated into the human civilization territory, and made up his mind. Human civilization was expanding its frontiers at all times, incorporating vast swathes of star systems into its territory daily. These star systems and star domains, to integrate as smoothly as possible into human civilization, required the presence of sufficiently powerful beings to oversee them, facilitating large-scale migration. And such beings with sufficient clout. An 8th rank evolver would suffice. In the cosmic starry skies, the wars between many different species generally have an upper limit at the 8th layer, 9th rank evolvers. Unless a large-scale war broke out, like the recent one where human civilization conducted a cleanse of the many species within the insect race alliance. That's when evolvers of the 9th rank or even stronger were mobilized. But this was a rare case, as the insect race was trying to monopolize an ultimate evolutionary path that lacked supreme beings. Which in turn provoked the wrath of human civilization. The insect race was also acutely aware of their situation and did not resist fiercely against human civilization's purge, or else it would have sparked a full-blown war with the alliances of the peak clans. Hence, in normal-scale wars, 8th rank combat power was usually the ceiling, as for 9th and 10th rank. Even in large alien battlefields, it was unlikely for fighters of the 9th and 10th ranks to make a move easily. For human civilization to station 8th rank evolvers in fringe starfields was already giving them considerable attention. This star domain consists of 12 star systems, and preliminary surveys indicate there are as many as 1.5 million life planets suitable for normal human habitation, and over 10 billion of various resource planets. Lin Yuan carefully looked over the detailed information of the star domain. Since only preliminary surveys were conducted, much of the data was not precise, but it was enough for him to get a general understanding. All things considered, the star domain he chose was larger than Chikuan's star domain by half, as one could tell from the number of life planets. Most importantly, the different species bordering this star domain did not include any peak clans, making it relatively safe. In the future, this will be the place where I remain in charge for 500 or even more years. Lin Yuan carefully inspected the star domain on the map from all angles. Let's apply directly. After contemplating for a while, Lin Yuan started the application process with the Goddess of Wisdom. Application approved. Next, a staff member will contact you to verify your strength. The solemn and serene voice of the Goddess of Wisdom reached him. Understood. Lin Yuan nodded. Although the Red Kun lineage had announced that Lin Yuan had advanced to the 8th rank, if one wanted to oversee a star domain, an official confirmation from human civilization was still required. It wasn't a matter of doubting the legitimacy of the Red Kun lineage. It was just standardized procedure. Even disciples of supreme beings, after advancing to the 8th rank, had to follow this protocol. Teacher asked me to visit him before I leave. Upon receiving a message from the Chikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan was slightly moved. Before the Great Peak Master left, he too had visited the Chikuan Star Lord. It must be that the Chikuan Star Lord had given some treasures to help face the many challenges of the fringe starfields. The situation in the fringe starfields was complicated. Although human civilization had driven different species out on the surface, many issues remained. For instance, how should one deal with certain special life form species? These special life form species have lived there since their inception, and have exhibited no hostile actions against human civilization. How human civilization should deal with them after taking over these star domains is a conundrum. These special life form species, while few in number, doesn't mean they are easy to deal with. 2 days later, the official staff members from human civilization arrived on Chikuan main star. Peak Master Shursan. The 2 staff members were one tall and burly, and the other slim and slender. It's protocol, and we hope for Peak Master Shursan's understanding. The slender staff member said with a smile. Many 8th rank evolvers would feel repulsed by this process, but rules were rules. To assume vast authority over a star domain naturally required passing through many processes. I understand. Lin Yuan wasn't bothered in the least. Peak Master Shursan, please activate the power of your world through this crystal sphere, said the tall staff member, placing a crystal sphere in front of Lin Yuan. The sphere was transparent with twinkling stars inside, like a starry sea enclosed within. All right. With a flicker of his mind, Lin Yuan channeled a wisp of the world's power into the crystal sphere, then quickly withdrew it. Buzz. The sphere trembled slightly, and a few strands of golden light burst forth. Peak Master Shursan's power of the world is without issue, the slender staff member remarked, his pupils slightly contracting as he exchanged a quick glance with his burly colleague and hastened to speak. Both had confirmed the power of many 8th rank evolvers and were quite experienced. But they were still astonished by the high quality of Peak Master Shursan's world power. It was nearly on par with 7th rank peak evolvers. The 2 staff members were shocked. They had originally thought that for Peak Master Shirsan to have advanced to the 8th rank before the age of 100, his foundation couldn't be as solid as those who took tens of thousands of years to advance. Yet, the world power Lin Yuan had shown revealed the stability of his inner world far surpassed that of typical newly advanced 8th rank evolvers. Peak Master Shirsan, please drop a bead of your blood into this bowl, requested the tall staff member, producing a metal bowl and placing it in front of Lin Yuan. To confirm whether an evolver has reached the 8th rank, 3 aspects must be examined. First is the power of the world. Second is the physical strength. Third is soul strength. World power alone does not suffice to determine an 8th rank evolver since a small number of 7th rank evolvers can have an inner world before their peak. Chapter 420 Galaxy Master, please subscribe. _2 Lin Yuan was at the peak of the 6th rank, on the verge of breaking through to the 7th rank, when he completed the creation of his inner world. Only by combining physical strength with soul strength could one determine if an evolver has stepped into the 8th rank. Whoosh! Lin Yuan squeezed out a drop of blood. After dropping it into a metal bowl and getting confirmation from the emaciated staff member, Lin Yuan willed the drop of blood to dissipate into thin air. Having mastered the physical body divine ability blood rebirth, Lin Yuan had absolute control over every drop of his blood. After verifying his physical body, Lin Yuan proceeded to verify his soul strength. Shortly thereafter, the 2 staff members received confirmation. The peak master of Shirsan indeed stepped into the 8th rank. Even during the confirmation, the 2 staff members speculated that the peak master of Shirsan's strength was far superior to that of a normal 8th rank evolver. Peak master of Shirsan, we have finished the confirmation, the 2 staff members said with slight reverence. Thank you, Lin Yuan nodded. May I ask if you, Peak Master, have decided on a name for the star domain you wish to preside over? Asked the emaciated staff member, slightly curious. A name? Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before saying, I've already decided. What is it? The emaciated staff member asked curiously. This was not exactly a secret, the name of a star domain would inevitably become public knowledge. Let's call it Milky Way, said Lin Yuan calmly, with a voice full of implication. Milky Way star region. Milky Way. The 2 staff members, unaware of the significance of the name, congratulated with a smile. Congratulations to the Galaxy Master on your new appointment. With the star domain named Milky Way, Lin Yuan naturally became the Galaxy Master. Galaxy Master, Lin Yuan's thoughts wandered. He named the domain Milky Way in remembrance of the galaxy that Earth belonged to before he crossed over to this great universe world. After the 2 staff members left, less than a minute passed, Lin Yuan received the Goddess of Wisdom's confirmation. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, your star domain application has passed the review, please proceed to select the main star configuration, came the solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom. Main star configuration. Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow. He knew about the main star, which was the most central location in a star domain, like the Qikuan main star and the Qikuan star domain. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, the so-called main star configuration is the selection of resource levels to remodel the main star. Being a newly annexed star domain, the human civilization officially provides a Layer C remodel for free. Once you confirm the main star, a designated evolver will go to remake it, granting it basic war capabilities, the Goddess of Wisdom explained. I see, Lin Yuan suddenly understood. The Qikuan main star, as the most prosperous place in the Qikuan star domain, wouldn't dare be messed with, even by 8th rank evolvers. What accounted for this? The Qikuan star lord. Not entirely. Most of the time, the Qikuan Star Lord was in seclusion, and other than the affairs atop the 13 peaks, he typically ignored the rest. What normally governed the Qikuan main star were war technologies like the planetary defense system. The planetary defense system on the Qikuan main star could easily suppress any ordinary 8th rank evolver. What level of planetary defense system does a Layer C remodel correspond to? Lin Yuan inquired. It can suppress all 6th rank powerhouses and most 7th rank powerhouses, replied the goddess of wisdom. What about higher level remodels? Lin Yuan continued to ask. A Layer B remodel can suppress all 7th rank powerhouses and most 8th rank powerhouses, and would require the Star Lord to pay an additional 100,000 cubic universe crystals. A Layer A remodel can suppress almost all 8th rank evolvers, with the exception of the Invincibles, and would require the Star Lord to pay an additional 1 million cubic universe crystals, the goddess of wisdom's voice transmitted. So expensive. Lin Yuan was somewhat taken aback. Even a Layer B transformation required 100,000 cosmic crystals. What did that mean? It was equivalent to the entire wealth of a newly advanced 8th rank evolver, including the value of treasures and weapons. Together, they amounted to just this much. Not to mention a Layer A transformation. But its effect was also obvious. A Layer B transformation could easily resolve most 8th rank evolvers, and just this point alone was of immeasurable value. The main star of a star domain is the future economic and political center of that domain. There must be absolutely no security risks. Lin Yuan thought to himself. As long as the main star was well managed, it would become a money tree in the future. How much profit could the Chikuan main star generate for the Chikuan Star Lord, gathering merchants from numerous surrounding star domains each day? I choose the Layer B transformation, Lin Yuan said after some thought. Whether it was a Layer B or a Layer A transformation, they were both benefits provided by human civilization to various Star Lords. A planetary defense system that could suppress most 8th rank powerhouses, if purchased privately, could not be quelled even with tens of thousands of cubic universe crystals. Layer B transformation requires 100,000 cubic universe crystals. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, please confirm, the voice of the goddess of wisdom came. Confirmed. Lin Yuan nodded. The next moment, his account balance was short by 100,000 cubic universe crystals. It's deducted so quickly. Lin Yuan felt a bit of heartache. 100,000 cubic universe crystals left in his account a while longer would have earned tens of millions of civilization currency in interest. Really can't resist spending this money, Lin Yuan sighed. After the 8th rank celebratory ceremony, Lin Yuan's total wealth once reached nearly 200,000 cubic universe crystals. Now, it had shrunk by more than half all at once. It can be earned back in the future. As long as the safety of the main star isn't compromised, it will inevitably become an economic center of a star domain. Wouldn't it be easy to recoup the investment by then? Lin Yuan comforted himself internally. These were all initial investments. Given a choice, Lin Yuan would have even preferred a Layer A transformation. After the choice of star domain was approved, Lin Yuan did not return to the Great Hall. Instead, he went directly to the Vermilion Palace where the Chikuan Star Lord was in seclusion. Teacher. At the palace, Lin Yuan bowed slightly to the Chikuan Star Lord. Even now, as Lin Yuan had stepped into the 8th rank, he still felt an overwhelming sense of pressure when facing the Chikuan Star Lord. One must know, although Lin Yuan had just entered the 8th rank, with the help of his inner world, he was enough to battle late 8th rank or even peak 8th rank evolvers. Is this what it means to be invincible among the 8th rank? To have mastered a type of cosmic force? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Each invincible 8th rank had mastered a power that reigned supreme over 8th rank. This power was also known as cosmic force. In essence, the invincible 8th rank still remained at the 4th stage of the 8th rank, which is the extreme of the 8th rank. However, in terms of combat power, an invincible 8th rank could almost crush the extreme 8th rank. 1,000,000 years ago, an invincible member of the Heiyuan clan, Black Abyss Qingyu, killed Yin, who was in the late 8th rank, with a single soul attack. Each invincible 8th rank was unique, and the cosmic force they mastered was different from one another. My good disciple, have you made your choice of star domain? The Qikuan Star Lord looked at Lin Yuan with a smile. Among the 13 disciples, the one who gave him the least worry was Lin Yuan, who also had the highest achievements to date. It was foreseeable that in the future, it would still be Lin Yuan. Teacher, I've made my choice, Lin Yuan replied. He then took out a map and marked out that particular star domain. There, ha. Not bad. The Qikuan Star Lord nodded and said. When going to the fringe starfield, be very careful. By the way, you must have met the Supreme Being, right? Suddenly, the Qikuan Star Lord asked. If it was merely an under 100-year-old 7th rank, the Supreme Being might not take much notice, but for an under 100-year-old 8th rank, the Qikuan Star Lord was almost certain it would draw the attention of a Supreme Being. Teacher, the Supreme Being I met was Xia Qin Supreme Being, Lin Yuan said. There was no need to hide this matter. How could the historically ranked top 20 or top 10 genius evolvers of human civilization have not met with a Supreme Being? Xia Qin Supreme Being. That's a Supreme Being known for combat power in our human civilization, the Qikuan Star Lord spoke. Human civilization has 9 Supreme Beings. Each Supreme Being excels in different areas. To be precise, the Supreme Beings have no weak points, but compared to other Supreme Beings, they have their areas of advantage. For instance, the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being, although not skilled in direct combat, has followed an evolution path that allows her to construct an illusory universe. The current virtual world of human civilization originates from the authority of the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being, nearly able to flawlessly replicate everything within the universe, even simulating the rules. The importance of the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being is in no way inferior to that of the Xia Qin Supreme Being. Chapter 421 Special Life Groups, Subscription Requested, Alright. There is no need to inform me about your conversation with the Supreme Being. The reason I called you here is to consider your overseeing duties in the star domain that lies ahead. The Qikuan Star Lord looked down at Lin Yuan and began to speak. As a teacher, when a disciple is about to travel far and manage a distant star domain, it's natural to make some arrangements. Your strength is much greater than that of your senior brother. In this respect, I am not worried. A smile appeared on the face of the Qikuan Star Lord. Being able to advance to the newly reached 8th layer and possess combat power close to the late stages or peak of the 8th layer is extremely rare in the entire Anon Star Alliance. And if you consider those under 100 years old, the Human Civilization Alliance can hardly find a few. The Qikuan Star Lord was unaware that the true age of Lin Yuan's spirit was over 1,000 years old, nor did he know that the evolutionary path Lin Yuan had walked was one he had blazed from nothingness. Compared to being 1,000 years old, blazing a martial path evolutionary path is even more unthinkable. Xia Qin, the Evolver, even ranked Lin Yuan among the top 10 to 20 geniuses in the history of human civilization. But in a strange star domain, relying solely on strength is not enough, you also must have trustworthy subordinates, thought the Qikuan Star Lord. 2 figures appeared not far away. These 2 figures, one with dark red skin and the other with sharp ears and green eyes, were obviously not human evolvers. Star Lord. The 2 figures bowed slightly towards the Qikuan Star Lord. From today onwards, you will follow my disciple, pointed out the Qikuan Star Lord towards Lin Yuan and said. Yes. The 2 figures walked up to Lin Yuan. They. Lin Yuan's expression subtly changed. From close sensing, both figures were 8th layer beings, not just newly advanced ones. These 2, as servants of mine, are not human evolvers. One is called Hongpi, mid-8th layer, and the other is called Levian, late 8th layer, he explained. There are no issues regarding their loyalty. With their aid, you will at least not be overwhelmed in the fringe starfield, the Qikuan Star Lord said casually. Teacher, this is too precious, Lin Yuan said earnestly. Having two loyally devoted 8th-layer beings from different species under one's command was simply. Lin Yuan couldn't even describe his feelings. From the perspective of merit points, two 8th-layer beings from another species were worth 2 million merit points. In fact, the real value of living 8th-layer beings exceeded 1 million merit points, as an 8th-layer being if long stationed in battlefields of different species could amass that many merit points over tens of thousands of years. Not to mention other incomes and gains. Why the formalities with me? With my current strength, do you think I need them? The Qikuan Star Lord glared at Lin Yuan. But, Lin Yuan felt somewhat conflicted. Although as an undefeated being of the 8th layer, the Qikuan Star Lord indeed did not need mid or late 8th layer subordinates, not needing them didn't mean they held no value. Casually placing those two 8th layer beings in battlefields could earn the Qikuan Star Lord immense wealth over time. Having two 8th layer beings work for him was extravagantly luxurious. No more buts. Just take them and keep them. The Qikuan Star Lord waved his hand and said, "Go back now. If there are any issues, just contact me in the virtual world." "Thank you, teacher." Lin Yuan bowed earnestly to the Qikuan Star Lord. Although Lin Yuan possessed both Yin spirit and Yang spirit, the Yin spirit needed to be accelerated under the eternal spatial rift in the battlefields of different species to accumulate world-breaking origin force. The Yang spirit stayed at the Qikuan main star for protection. Relying solely on his true self, many tasks would be hindered in the fringe starfield. But with these two 8th layer subordinates, it was different now. Many things could be simply instructed. 13 peaks. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Hongpi and Levian, the two 8th layer beings of different species, stood in front of Lin Yuan. "Introduce yourselves," Lin Yuan said. "Peak Master, I am called Hongpi," said the dark red-skinned being. "My strength is at the mid-8th layer, I follow the rules of fire and space, and my inner world spans 9,800 li," Hongpi quickly stated. "Peak Master, I am Levian," said the being with green eyes beside him. "I am at the late 8th layer, proficient in the rule of life, late 8th layer, my inner world spans 32,000 li. If the Peak Master sustains any injuries, as long as the soul has not completely collapsed, I dare not say I can save you, but at least I can ensure you won't die for a short time," Levian said. Rule of life. Lin Yuan took another look at Levian. The rule of life, along with the space and time rules, is one of the foundational rules of the cosmic starry skies. Currently, Lin Yuan's understanding of the rule of life was just a bit more than elementary. "I understand," Lin Yuan nodded. "Normally, you will stay in my inner world." Lin Yuan glanced at the two beings, his thoughts shifted, and he absorbed them into his inner world. In his inner world, Lin Yuan was akin to a creator god, capable of effortlessly mobilizing the power of an entire world. "This time, teacher has really helped me tremendously," Lin Yuan thought silently. With the assistance of Hongpi and Levian, Lin Yuan felt much relieved. To establish a star domain and govern billions of citizens involves aspects in every direction. Having two capable assistants relieved him of so much concern. Half a day later. "Master, your custom-ordered layer, a cosmic spacecraft, has arrived," the voice of the intelligent assistant rang in Lin Yuan's ears. The spacecraft has arrived, Lin Yuan's spirits lifted slightly. The cosmic spacecraft Lin Yuan had purchased before were the most ordinary standard ones, only barely passable in performance. The wormhole shuttles it carried out were incomparable in both range and cooldown time to those of B-layer and layer spacecraft. Chapter 422 Special Life Populations. Please subscribe, _2 of course. Back then, Lin Yuan didn't care too much about the spaceship's performance, since the ones riding the spaceship were his Yin spirit and Yang spirit. As long as it could be used to travel, that was enough. However, now that Lin Yuan was about to head to the fringe starfield, and it was his true self going, he needed a high-quality cosmic spaceship. This kind of cosmic spaceship not only has a tremendous advantage in speed but, in escaping and preserving one's life, it also has miraculous effects. Lin Yuan stepped out of the Great Hall and immediately saw a black spaceship parked there. From the outside, this spaceship didn't look much different from those standard-issue spaceships, but the aura it emanated caused faint vibrations in the air. The spaceship was only 500 meters in size, with faint engraved patterns on its surface. These patterns were manifestations of the essence of rules, which could let the spaceship travel faster and more easily through wormholes. Not bad, not bad. Lin Yuan's mind was pleased. The spaceship was entirely forged from red copper gold. Ordinary attacks from an 8th layer strong one basically couldn't break its defenses. From startup to wormhole shuttle, the fastest time needed was only 12 seconds. 8,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan thought about the value of this cosmic spaceship and couldn't help but feel emotional. As a star domain lord, he certainly couldn't be traveling in those standard-issue spaceships. And great cosmic spaceship would be enough for Lin Yuan to use for a very long time. In human civilization, using spaceships to travel is the most common choice, even for 9th rank evolvers who have fully grasped a complete core space model and mastered long-range teleportation. If there wasn't anything urgent, they would also usually travel by spaceship. Long-range teleportation techniques require evolvers to integrate with the space rules, and in an instant, move hundreds to thousands of light-years along with the wave of space. It consumes one's mind and spirit greatly. Generally, a 9th rank evolver would need to rest after not too long a time. Like Vice Tower Master Nalan, who traversed countless tens of thousands of light-years within half a month to deliver the soul-settling pearl to Lin Yuan, a 9th rank evolver wouldn't be capable of that. After storing the great cosmic spaceship, Lin Yuan returned inside the Great Hall. It's about time to leave. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Young spirit. With a slight thought, a phantom shadow walked out. It condensed into substance, looking face to face with Lin Yuan. From now on, you will be stationed here, Lin Yuan said, instructing the young spirit. And this drop of essence blood, Lin Yuan left behind a drop of essence blood. The blood rebirth physical body divine ability allowed Lin Yuan to completely control every drop of his essence blood, for within it was infused with fragments of his soul true spirit consciousness. Which treasures to take along as the true self heads to the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan began to ponder. First and foremost was the soul-settling pearl bestowed by the Xia Qin Supreme Being. This treasure was Lin Yuan's biggest safeguard for preserving his life in front of a Supreme Being. He definitely had to carry it on his person. 8th layer soul defense artifact, water droplet. Also, that 8th layer armor. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and decided to bring these 2 items as well. Lin Yuan had always valued defense concerning the soul aspect. Origin fine gold. With a thought from Lin Yuan, a bell-shaped weapon appeared before him. This bell-shaped weapon was only palm-sized, but the aura it faintly emitted was even more formidable than that 8th layer soul defense artifact. Let's not bring this. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The reason was twofold. First, having just advanced to the 8th layer, the origin fine gold needed time to be nurtured to keep up with Lin Yuan's realm strength. Second, with the 8th layer soul defense artifact, 8th layer armor, and the magic jade mark enhancement, Lin Yuan believed that his defenses had already reached the extreme at his current stage. Even against an invincible 8th layer being, he could withstand a few blows without dying to a soul attack like O-Yin. Unknowingly, Lin Yuan had entirely surpassed O-Yin, a late-stage 8th layer evolver from 1,000,000 years ago. The current origin fine gold wasn't of much enhancement to Lin Yuan, at least not enough for a qualitative change. Bringing it or not didn't make much of a difference. The current situation in the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan opened the data and began to read it carefully. The Milky Way star region originally belonged to the territories of the Shadow Tribe. And the Shadow Tribe, while not a peak clan, was still one of the most powerful clans just under the peak clans, with a force much stronger than the Heiyuan clan. After defeating the Shadow Tribe on the battlefield, human civilization claimed vast territories, including the Milky Way star region that Lin Yuan needs to oversee. Within the Milky Way star region, apart from the Shadow Tribe, there existed some special life clans and solitary alien strong ones. These special life clans and solitary alien strong ones either dominated a cosmic secret realm or several constellation systems. When the Shadow Tribe was still around, they got along quite well with these special life clans and solitary alien strong ones, not infringing upon each other. Now that the Shadow Tribe has been repelled, the entire Milky Way star region has fallen into the hands of human civilization, and it is up to Lin Yuan to decide how to deal with these special life clans and solitary alien strong ones. 9 major special life clans, 13 solitary alien strong ones. Lin Yuan reviewed the data. These clans had not yet taken hostile actions against human civilization. How should they be dealt with? Lin Yuan understood clearly that if the Shadow Tribe had left these clans intact, it must have felt that dealing with them directly would be troublesome. It was very likely that these special life clans or solitary alien strong ones were either difficult to handle or had many backgrounds, making the Shadow Tribe hesitant to provoke them. Let's see what their attitudes are when the time comes. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, feeling sure about his course of action. At the edge of human territories. A vast star domain. A gigantic figure was devouring one planet after another, unrestrained. So satisfying, so satisfying. Everything in this universe was meant to be our food. With those Shadow Tribe in charge before, I had to be cautious, but now that they've been defeated and withdrawn from this star domain, these planetary resources are all mine. This enormous figure, similar to an octopus and blood red all over, would envelop a planet with its numerous tentacles, and within days, consume the entire planet. It's a pity these resource planets are somewhat hard to digest. If they were life planets, the blood-red octopus heart thrummed with excitement. A life planet teeming with billions of lives, devouring so many lives all at once, the countless flesh and souls, made the blood-red octopus tremble with excitement. Let's search and see. It would be best to find a few indigenous planets. The blood-red octopus immediately extended its massive perception, spreading in all directions. With the Shadow Tribe's retreat, they must have taken their kin with them, but in such a large star domain, there naturally remained many planets that hadn't been discovered yet. Perhaps amongst them were life planets. Several months later, the blood-red octopus was contentedly devouring several life planets. Countless lives became the nourishment for the blood-red octopus, bringing it pleasure that made its soul shiver. Ha 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 ha. It'll digest for a while first. The blood-red octopus returned to a massive planet, its lair, where it usually practiced or slumbered. The figure of the blood-red octopus shrank rapidly, transforming into a being with dozens of arms. Aodu, you're back. On the other side of the massive planet, a gigantic mountain of flesh sent out psychic waves. This meaty mountain was a special life form, on good terms with the blood-red octopus, and the two often communicated with each other. How many planets did you ingest this time? The enormous meaty mountain asked casually. Just over a dozen, but those resource planets are too hard to digest, so I secretly devoured a few life planets, and that feeling, the blood-red octopus spoke with delight. Life planets, the enormous meaty mountain felt a bit tempted as well. Wait till I've digested, and then you can follow me. The two of us will go and devour those life planets together, the blood-red octopus said. It possessed a special talent that allowed it to detect many planets in the nearby region, otherwise, how could it so easily find life planets in the vastness of space? Forget it. Aodu, you'll also need to restrain yourself in the future, the meaty mountain said. Restrain? Why should I restrain? The blood-red octopus asked, puzzled. This star domain is territory yielded by the Shadow Tribe. You should know whom the Shadow Tribe surrendered it to, right? The meaty mountain said. I've got the message that not long from now, a Star Lord of human civilization will come to sit in this star domain. Which Star Lord? Asked the blood-red octopus. The meaty mountain replied, the Galaxy Master. Chapter 423 Meeting the Galaxy Master. Please subscribe, Galaxy Master. The Crimson Octopus Aodu thought hard, and finally shook his head, saying, never heard of him. As part of the Peak clans, he had heard of all the somewhat famous 8th-layer evolvers of the human civilization, especially the likes of Wanyang Star Lord and Nine-Sword Star Master, invincible beings at the 8th layer, whose names were known to all. But the Galaxy Master. The Crimson Octopus Aodu truly had not heard of him. Of course, you haven't heard of him. The massive flesh mountain glanced at Aodu. This Galaxy Master is a newly promoted 8th-layer evolver. His teacher is the Chikuan Star Lord. Chikuan Star Lord. The Crimson Octopus Aodu's spirit was shocked. Every single one of the invincible at the 8th layer controlled a unique cosmic force, especially a fearsome invincible being like Chikuan Star Lord. Even if he hadn't seen him, there was no way he wouldn't know of him. This Galaxy Master is quite famous, stepping into the 8th layer before 100 years of age. He is the top genius of this generation of human civilization. The massive flesh mountain knew many pieces of information about human civilization. It wasn't really considered intelligence, as the name of the Shursand Peak Master didn't need any inquiring at all. An 8th layer under 100 years old. The Crimson Octopus Aodu's expression was envious. Most of the human civilization's evolvers are like ants, but their rare talents truly make me envious. The Crimson Octopus Aodu, being a special life form, was at the 5th rank at maturity and could simply cultivate to step into the 6th rank. It didn't know how many years it took to reach its current 8th layer. But those top human talents had reached the heights where it resided in just a mere 100 or several hundred years. Of course, as a special life form, the Crimson Octopus Aodu's combat power surpassed that of a human evolver at the same level. But the gap between the two was not too significant. Below the 8th layer, human evolvers were crushed by special life forms of the same level. But after the 8th layer, upon opening up their inner worlds, the foundation of human evolvers was transformed, eliminating the fear of most special life forms at the same level. I am just warning you to be a little more cautious these days. Human civilization is not like the Shadow Tribe, the massive flesh mountain said. You'd better reduce the frequency of devouring life planets. Human civilization values their planets quite a lot. I am, after all, an 8th layer special life form, coming from the Star Alliance. Would he, the Galaxy Master, really trouble me over a few mere planets? The Crimson Octopus Aodu snorted coldly. In reality, it had already planned to heed the advice of the massive flesh mountain and behave for the time being. At least, it had to figure out what the disposition of this Galaxy Master was like. If he was as tolerant as the Shadow Tribe, then its future days would be very comfortable too. Star Alliance. The massive flesh mountain shook its head slightly. The Star Alliance comprised special life forms that banded together to resist the Human Civilization Alliance and the Insect Race Alliance. Special life forms, being scarce in number, simply couldn't form the massive clans like the human race or the insect race. To contend with humans and insects, they could only unite with one another. Of course, even so, the members of the Star Alliance were still not many, with most of them scattered throughout the universe. Our star domain is about to welcome a new master. Named the Galaxy Master. Will the name of this star domain also become the Milky Way star region? This Galaxy Master has an incredible background, being the disciple of Chikuan Star Lord and also the unparalleled genius of human civilization. I hope that this Galaxy Master will treat us like the Shadow Tribe did. That would be good. Not clear. Every Star Lord of human civilization has a different temperament. If the Galaxy Master is cordial with us, of course, it would be a good thing. Although the personality of the Galaxy Master is unknown, he is very young, so he should not have much desire to kill. Inside the Milky Way star region, various special life form clans and reclusive different species lone walkers were quietly discussing. They had gotten along pleasantly with the Shadow Tribe, who had conceded many interests to stabilize them. Now that a new master from human civilization had taken over this star domain, these clans and individual wanderers were naturally anxious, unsure of what awaited them. The lone walkers and special life form clans had settled here for lengthy eons. If possible, they naturally did not wish to move. This was also why they still hadn't left after the Shadow Tribe's retreat. Regardless of who the master of this star domain was, as long as it didn't target them, everything would be all right. Chikuan Main Star. Lin Yuan stepped out of the Great Hall and entered the lair, a cosmic spaceship, ready to head for the galactic star region. From today on, I'll call you Silver Galaxy. Lin Yuan set the destination as Milky Way star region and left the rest to the smart controls. With the control intelligence of Silver Galaxy, the entire journey was hardly a concern for Lin Yuan, who could freely choose the optimal route. Master, starting now, it will take 5 years to reach the Milky Way star region, a sweet voice echoed in Lin Yuan's ears, belonging to the control intelligence of the Silver Galaxy. 5 years. That's fine. Lin Yuan nodded. Without the Silver Galaxy, if he had to take those standard cosmic spaceships, he wouldn't think of reaching his destination in less than 20 years. The performance of the Silver Galaxy didn't just involve wormhole shuttle over large distances, but the cooldown between 2 wormhole shuttles was also not long. Whoosh! The Silver Galaxy turned into a black lightning bolt, instantly reaching the star platform of Chikuan Main Star, then sailed deep into the cosmic starry sky. Finally, the space slowly rippled with fluctuations, directly engaging in wormhole shuttle. Inside the Silver Galaxy, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. 5 years, which might be brief for other evolvers, were extremely precious for cultivation in Lin Yuan's eyes. With his against heaven's understanding of enlightenment, 5 years were enough for him to make significant progress. Chapter 424 Meeting the Galaxy Master. Please subscribe. _2 You should know, this is not about traversing worlds, it is the main world. In the traversing worlds, Lin Yuan had an abundance of time, but lacked many of the conveniences of the main world. For instance, the continuously fluctuating origin source of the battlefields of different races could provide Lin Yuan great benefits in comprehending the space core model. There was also that segment of a body from a supreme being of the magic Jade Tower within the virtual world. Of course, the traversing worlds also have their advantages, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Inner world. It was vast and boundless, almost 30,000 miles in circumference. When he had newly advanced to the 8th rank, Lin Yuan's inner world had swelled to a circumference of 25,000 miles. But through cultivation and the continual enhancement of his understanding of space rules, the expansion speed of the world had increased noticeably. Now, it had even reached 28,000 miles. In the southeast corner of the inner world, Hongpi and Bian, the 2 8th rank alien race members, had a numb look in their eyes. Ever since they were brought here by Lin Yuan, the shock in their hearts had never ceased. Wasn't it said that Peak Master Shirsan had just entered the 8th rank? Could someone who had just entered the 8th rank possess such a vast inner world? After exchanging a glance, Hongpi and Bian only felt their mouths becoming parched. Normally, the inner world of someone who had just entered the 8th rank would only have a circumference of 100 miles. Subsequently, as one cultivated further and deepened their understanding of space rules, the inner world would gradually expand. But as for Lin Yuan, Hongpi and Bian, the 2 8th rank members of the alien race, swallowed hard. Both in middle and later stages of the 8th rank together did not have an inner world 1/3 as large as that of Lin Yuan, who was in the early stages of the 8th rank. It was simply inconceivable. I finally understand why the Star Lord told us to follow the Peak Master and said what he did at the time. Hongbi was silent for a while before speaking dryly. The words Chikuin Star Lord had spoken roughly meant that they should simply follow Lin Yuan's commands. As for protecting Lin Yuan, not a word was mentioned. At that time, Hongbi and Bian were somewhat puzzled. If Lin Yuan, as someone who had just entered the 8th rank, was going to sit in the fringe starfield, wasn't their mission to ensure his safety? Now it seems that Peak Master Shirsan, who had just entered the 8th rank, did not need their protection at all. Based on the range of the inner world, Lin Yuan's strength was more than enough to easily crush both of them. The two 8th rank alien race beings pondered deeply. Their mission in following Lin Yuan was probably to handle the trifles, so that Lin Yuan would not waste his precious time on those matters. Abnormal, too abnormal. How could human civilization have such an abnormality? Hongbi couldn't help but say, a person who matched the 8th rank peak just after entering the 8th rank was a rarity even among those special life forms. Perhaps, this is why human civilization has become a peak clan. Bian murmured to himself in a low voice. The history of human civilization is not very long, only a little over 2 million years. But within such a short time, human civilization leapt to become a peak clan dominating the starry skies, because they gave birth to one genius after another. Here, genius does not simply refer to those talented in evolutionary paths but includes geniuses in all other areas as well. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 5 years went by. In the Milky Way star region, a black cosmic warship emerged from the wormholes. "Master, we have arrived at the Milky Way star region," said a sweet voice that belonged to the main control intelligence of the Silver Galaxy. Inside the warship, Lin Yuan slowly opened his eyes, hearing the sweet voice of the Silver Galaxy's main control intelligence. "At last, we've arrived." Lin Yuan looked through the spaceship, gazing at the outer starry sky. He saw a star domain that resembled a silvery river hanging in the starry sky, incredibly dazzling and beautiful. 5 years, Lin Yuan's expression was somewhat reflective. These 5 years had allowed him to make tremendous strides in various aspects. Firstly, in the aspect of comprehending the core space model, Lin Yuan had now penetrated the 2092nd kind. One should know that there are a total of 7,782 types of core space models. Having comprehended 2,000 types equates to having completed a quarter of the journey. Even Chikuin Star Lord had not fully penetrated all core space models. Once all the core space models were understood, it would be equivalent to mastering the complete space rules, and the vast universe would be his to traverse. Secondly, the opening of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path's 8th layer part was significant. If the opening of the 8th layer part is divided into 10 stages, then Lin Yuan was close to completing the 2nd stage. Bear in mind, any evolution path's 8th layer part is crucial for becoming a grand evolver in evolution studies. The 8th layer part of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path was even more difficult. Merely 5 years and he had reached the 2nd stage. Those grand evolvers would likely become despondent if they heard this. Even for an evolutionary scholar, starting from scratch to establish an 8th rank evolution path is no easy task. It requires a significant amount of time and energy, and even then, one may not necessarily gain the approval of the 3 goddesses. I've already conceived over 11,000 evolution paths. Why am I still just an ordinary member of the Magic Jade Tower? Lin Yuan pondered. In the 5 years since, Lin Yuan, at intervals, would comprehend that segment of his body. After advancing to the 8th rank, his realm had significantly improved. Even though he still had to withstand the psychic will pressure, his comprehension speed had definitely increased greatly. In just 5 short years, Lin Yuan had conceived more than 7,000 additional evolution paths. This was considering he only devoted part of his time to the task. Otherwise, it would have been even more. No matter, just continue comprehending. Whether you're an ordinary member or a core one, what's crucial is enhancing one's own strength. Lin Yuan thought to himself, continuously conceiving new evolution paths, then dissecting them to extract their essence, which was his main goal. World-breaking origin force. I've accumulated 15 strands already. Lin Yuan felt that the world-breaking origin force, inside the majestic and grand door to the myriad realms deep within his mind, a smile appearing on his face. For Lin Yuan, the more world-breaking origin force, the better, as it meant more opportunities for interdimensional travel. It also represented an incredibly powerful life-saving ability. Because, using 50 strands of world-breaking origin force allowed for physical body transference. On the surface, physical body transference meant his physical body could descend and travel between worlds. Such a method of transference had its advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage was that if one died while traversing worlds, it could mean actual death. The advantage, however, was that all enhancements in the traversed worlds could be synchronized with the physical body. Plus, when evading assassination from the main world, one could use physical body transference for evasion. The world selected for transference by the door to the myriad realms were not in the same dimension or plane as the main world. Once Lin Yuan comfortably hid within, even a supreme being would be left helpless and merely watch. Let's go. Directly to the main star. Lin Yuan commanded the silver galaxy. Whoosh. The silver galaxy once again turned into a bolt of black lightning, vanishing into the starry sky. Milky Way main star. This was a high-class life planet. Since Lin Yuan was appointed as the galaxy master and designated this planet as the main star of the Milky Way star region, human officials from nearby star domains had arrived early to carry out a Class B transformation on this life planet. Furthermore, a large army of human evolvers was stationed here. This evolver army, left behind after human civilization took over the star domain, acted as the new Star Lord's left and right hands. The Star Lord should be arriving soon. Everyone, be at your best. A man in an exquisite purple robe spoke in the skies above the Milky Way main star. Next to him stood a blonde man, and behind them a dense army of evolvers. The evolver army was mainly composed of 5th-rank evolvers, governed by hundreds of 6th-rank evolvers, with the purple-robed man and the blonde man, both 7th-rank evolvers, acting as leaders. Our Star Lord is really wealthy, directly going for a Class B transformation of the main star, the blonde man whispered. Usually, newly advanced 8th-rank evolvers are quite poor. When they go to a star domain to become a Star Lord, they opt for the free Class C transformation. A Class B transformation requires 100,000 cubic universe crystals, roughly equivalent to the entire assets of a senior 8th-rank evolver, including their weapons and treasures. The Star Lord is an unrivaled genius. He stepped into the 8th rank at the age of 100, and his teacher is the Chikuan Star Lord. Just the gifts received at his 8th rank celebration probably exceeded 100,000 cubic universe crystals, incomparable to an ordinary 8th rank Star Lord, said the purple-robed man, glancing at the blonde man. Indeed, the blonde man nodded, his expression showing admiration. He had been shocked for a long time when he first heard that the Milky Way Star Lord was the Shursan Peak Master of the Chikuan Star Domain, a peerless prodigy of human civilization. All right. The Star Lord is here. The purple-robed man seemed to sense something. His expression shifted slightly as he looked ahead. Space began to subtly undulate, and a sleek, black cosmic battleship appeared quietly. Greetings, Galaxy Master. The purple-robed man and the blonde man bowed together. Greetings, Galaxy Master. Behind them, a large army of evolvers knelt in unison, respectfully chanting, Greetings, Galaxy Master. Chapter 425 Lin Yuan's Arrival. Please subscribe. Greetings to the Galaxy Master. Greetings to the Galaxy Master. Greetings to the Galaxy Master. Lin Yuan stepped out of the spaceship, facing the countless evolvers who bowed respectfully and knelt down to him. His mindset began to shift slightly. On the Qikuan main star, Lin Yuan had supreme power, and numerous evolvers showed him the utmost respect, but it all stemmed from the title of Qikuan Star Lord. Now, however, these evolvers were bowing to him as the Galaxy Master, to him, Lin Yuan. "Rise," Lin Yuan said. "Yes." The two leading evolvers, one in a purple robe and the other with a head of golden hair, straightened with reverence. "You two must be Chun Bo and Jiali, correct?" Lin Yuan looked at them both. After confirming his position as Galaxy Master, Lin Yuan had received plenty of information, including details about Chun Bo and Jiali. These two were specifically left behind by human civilization to help him take complete control over the Milky Way star region. Despite not being comparable to the two 8th rank members of a different species that his teacher gave him, they were both 7th rank evolvers. "Yes. I am honored that the Star Lord remembers our names." Chun Bo and Jiali replied with respect. "All right, disperse them all now." Lin Yuan looked towards the dense crowd of evolvers behind them. "Yes." Chun Bo nodded, turned to face the large army, and announced, "The Star Lord orders you all to disperse." His voice quickly reached the ears of every evolver. "Yes. By the will of the esteemed Star Lord." The large army of evolvers promptly dispersed in an orderly fashion. "Star Lord, let me introduce you to the main star," Chun Bo immediately said. The Milky Way main star was vast, and although Lin Yuan had received relevant data in advance, it was impossible for everything about such a large star to be recorded. After roughly touring the main star, Chun Bo and Jiali led Lin Yuan into a magnificent palace. "The B-level modification of the planet is almost complete, isn't it?" Lin Yuan asked. The modification of the Milky Way main star began as soon as Lin Yuan paid 100,000 cubic universe crystals. The nearby Star Alliance's evolvers hurried over and then started the transformation. "Yes. The planet modification is entering the final phase and is about to conclude," Chun Bo immediately replied. The stronger the planetary defense system on the main star, the safer it was, and this gave Lin Yuan a sense of confidence and reassurance. "That's quite fast." Lin Yuan nodded. Aside from the travel time, the planet's modification had been ongoing for at most 3 to 4 years. In such a short time, to have transformed this planet into a forbidden area capable of easily suppressing most 8th rank evolvers, was no small feat. "Who would dare not exert their full effort when working for the Star Lord?" remarked Jiali from beside him. The position of Galaxy Master was not merely a typical Star Lord. Not only was he the disciple of Qikuan Star Lord, but he was also a top-tier genius with limitless potential from human civilization. The workers surely put in all their effort for the modification of his main star, not daring to slack off in the slightest. Of course, the main reason was that Lin Yuan had paid enough, 100,000 cubic universe crystals, of which the workers could also receive a share. "I have 2 subordinates who will assist you with the management of the main star," Lin Yuan said, looking at Jiali and Chun Bo. The 2 from a different species gifted by the Qikuan Star Lord, Hongbi and the one with blue eyes, were not only 8th rank, but also possessed extensive experience in managing planets. Managing a planet well, especially the main star that serves as the economic and political center of a star domain, required a significant degree of steering capability. "All right." Chun Bo and Jiali had no objections. For Lin Yuan, who was taking control of a new star domain for the first time, to place his trustworthy subordinates was perfectly normal. If Lin Yuan did not place his own people and trusted them completely, it would be Chun Bo and Jiali who would feel anxious. Inner world. Hongbi and the one with blue eyes, both 8th rank members of a different species, had completely numbed themselves. 5 years. Just 5 years. For them, such a span was not even enough for a nap. Yet under the watchful eyes of the 2 8th rank beings, Lin Yuan's inner world had exploded from nearly 300,000 miles in circumference before his departure to 700,000 miles. It had expanded by a full 400,000 miles. Is this even human? Hongbi and the one with blue eyes steadied themselves, trying to recover from the shock. Originally, they speculated whether Lin Yuan, newly advanced to the 8th rank, reached nearly 300,000 miles in his inner world by relying on some space-related rare treasure. Some treasures hidden deep in the cosmic starry skies were of great help in crafting an inner world, although there were many thresholds to using these treasures. At least it could somewhat explain how Lin Yuan's inner world reached nearly 300,000 miles when he first advanced to the 8th rank. But the events of the past 5 years had undoubtedly shattered the cognition of the two members of the 8th rank alien race. They watched step by step as Lin Yuan's inner world expanded daily, monthly, and yearly, until it reached the current circumference of 700,000 miles. Using some spatial treasures to boost the size of one's inner world upon its initial creation was imaginable. But to keep expanding after that would depend solely on one's comprehension of the space rules. In other words, Lin Yuan's expansion in the past 5 years was purely based on his understanding of the space rules. An inner world of 700,000 miles in circumference. Hongbi and the one with blue eyes forced themselves to remain calm. They had seen inner worlds of 700,000 miles, the Chikuan Star Lord's inner world was even much larger. However, to soar from nearly 300,000 miles to nearly 700,000 miles in just 5 years. This was unheard of for them. Even the favorite child of the spatial origin source, the starry sky wanderer Kuan, born with its own inner world, could not possibly have such freakish growth in its core spatial model comprehension. Chapter 426 Lin Yuan's Arrival. Please subscribe. _2 The two 8th rank alien species didn't know that most of Lin Yuan's time and energy had been devoted to perfecting the 8th stage martial Tao and contemplating the evolutionary path. If he fully immersed himself in understanding the core model of the space rules, the explosive growth of the inner world would have increased by a large margin. The Peak Master wants to let us out. We have already arrived at the Milky Way main star. Hongbi and the alien with green eyes showed a slight change in their expressions as they received the message from Lin Yuan. In a flash, the two of them disappeared from the inner world. Milky Way main star, Central Palace. Lin Yuan sat on the throne, looking down at Chun Bo and Jiao Li. The next moment, Hongbi and the alien with green eyes appeared in the Great Hall. These are the subordinates under the Star Lord. Seeing Hongbi and the green-eyed alien, Chun Bo and Jiao Li were overwhelmed with shock. 8th rank. Both of them were at the 8th rank. Chun Bo and Jiao Li's eyelids twitched involuntarily. Newly advanced to the 8th rank, yet possessing two subordinates of the 8th rank, such a move was simply. Do they really think 8th rank powerhouses are like cabbages on the side of the road? Available in abundance. Chun Bo and Jiao Li recognized once again the fearsomeness of Lin Yuan's background. How much affection did the Chikuan Star Lord have for him? The four of you will henceforth be responsible for many affairs within the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan said. Yes. Chun Bo and Jiao Li responded immediately. Yes. Hongbi and the green-eyed alien also responded in kind. By the way, I need the detailed information on those special beings and alien lone walkers in the current star region, as well as their actions over the years, the more detailed the better, Lin Yuan stated. Having become the Star Lord of a star domain, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't allow anything beyond his control to exist within his domain. Those special beings and alien lone walkers fell within Lin Yuan's priority focus. Yes. Chun Bo and Jiao Li bowed and said. After the four left, only Lin Yuan remained in the palace. My current strength. In terms of combat power, I have thoroughly reached the peak of the 8th rank, right? Perhaps even among the strongest below the 8th rank invincible? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Just the inner world spanning 70,000 miles in radius alone was sufficient to elevate Lin Yuan's combat prowess to the peak of the 8th rank. Moreover, the martial path evolutionary path that Lin Yuan practiced was particularly adept at fighting, and overpowering stronger opponents with weaker strength was as easy as turning one's hand. Why could the martial path evolutionary path overwhelm the two top 8th rank evolutionary paths on the Qigong evolution rankings at the 7th rank level? Potential might be one aspect, but in terms of combat power, the martial path evolutionary path displayed an overwhelming advantage. From the first-tier chapter to the 7th rank chapter, and now to the 8th layer part that Lin Yuan had created, each step of the martial path evolutionary path was derived from Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding, striving for perfection in every detail. Below the 8th rank invincible, I have few rivals. Even if I encounter an 8th rank invincible, as long as I don't foolishly clash head-on and choose to flee instead, I shouldn't have any problems, Lin Yuan assessed himself. Those at the 8th rank invincible master a cosmic force, placing their combat power above the 8th rank, but with Lin Yuan's current means of preservation, at least he wouldn't be like Yin, unable to withstand even a single move. In terms of soul defense, Lin Yuan had the 8th rank soul defense treasure to guard him, the magic jade mark, to protect him, and his spirit will almost reaching 14,000 points. Even against soul-type 8th rank invincible evolvers, Lin Yuan believed he could withstand dozens of moves without dying. For physical defense, Lin Yuan had 8th rank armor to protect his body and the physical body divine ability of blood rebirth. Especially the latter, as long as Lin Yuan's physical body wasn't instantly crushed to nothingness, he effectively had an immortal body capable of quickly reborn. With these two methods of safeguarding his life, Lin Yuan might not be a match for an 8th rank invincible, but it wouldn't be easy for an 8th rank invincible to kill him either. Especially now that the Milky Way star region had been incorporated into the human civilization territory, Lin Yuan could, if he wished, summon a large number of human 8th rank evolvers in a short time. Several days later, Chun Bo and Jiali delivered the intelligence on those special beings and alien lone walkers in the Milky Way star region. Lin Yuan carefully reviewed the information. These special beings are really too arrogant, Lin Yuan said after reading, shaking his head slightly. For those special lives birthed from the cosmos, it's instinct to consider everything within the universe as their possessions. Especially that being named Aodu, who, every so often, needs to devour planets. Resource planets. Life planets. They are all mere dishes for Aodu. Such behavior became most rampant after the Shadow Tribe retreated and human civilization was about to take over, even consuming dozens of life planets in a row. Life planets, suitable for living, hold extremely high strategic significance for human civilization. Only with a large population base, can human civilization give birth to all sorts of geniuses. And those resource planets, most resource planets can't compare in value to life planets of the same level. But a minority of resource planets contain precious ores and rare treasures, like that dead resource star fought over by the Wuxia starfield and the Golden Dragon star domain. If the kind of precious ore it contains is fully mined, it would be worth 10,000 cubic universe crystals. Such a huge sum of cosmic crystals made the Golden Dragon star domain green with envy, tangling with the Wuxia starfield in a contested struggle. Mine. Those resource planets, life planets, they are all mine. Lin Yuan's brows knitted tightly. As a Star Lord, he could claim a small portion of all the resource planets within the boundaries of his star domain, even though they belonged to human civilization. And those life planets, soon human civilization would embark on widespread migration toward the Milky Way star region. At such a time, the more life planets, the greater the benefits. This Aodu cannot be allowed to remain, Lin Yuan decided in his heart. The Shadow Tribe was wary of Aodu's strength and background, but Lin Yuan didn't care. Human civilization, waging wars in all 8 directions, had never feared anyone. I will deal with it personally. Lin Yuan stood up and walked out of the palace. Ao Du was an 8th rank special life, nearly reaching the peak of the 8th rank. Moreover, Ao Du had deep connections with another 8th rank special life. They both lived on the same planet. In the current Milky Way star region, only Lin Yuan had the strength to face Ao Du upon the vast planet. The huge meat mountain frowned upon watching the blood-colored octopus slowly return from outside the planet. Ao Du, I've already told you to be more careful lately, try not to go out. That Milky Way Star Lord is probably close now, the gigantic meat mountain said gravely. What will you do if you annoy that Milky Way Star Lord by going out at a time like this? It wasn't afraid of that Milky Way Star Lord. But it did fear the Chikuan Star Lord behind him. And even more so, the Human Civilization Alliance behind him. A mighty special life, what's wrong with devouring a few planets? Ao Du said nonchalantly. Lately, it truly had been low-key, no longer devouring life planets. But it still had to devour resource planets. Without the massive energy contained within them, Ao Du's advancement to the 4th stage of the 8th rank would be indefinitely delayed. But what if the Milky Way Star Lord finds out? What will you do then? The colossal meat mountain asked. Milky Way Star Lord. A mere evolver not even 100 years old, even if he stepped into the 8th rank, how strong could he be? What can he do to us? Ao Du said with indifference. Oh. Milky Way Star Lord is easy to handle, but what about the Chikuan Star Lord? And what about the Human Civilization Alliance? The colossal meat mountain glanced at Ao Du. The reason I've been telling you to keep a low profile, to be cautious, isn't because of the Milky Way Star Lord, but because of the Human Civilization Alliance. The Human Civilization Alliance has already included this star domain within its territory. If we want to live comfortably, we have to watch the faces of the Human Civilization Alliance. As for that Milky Way Star Lord, what's he even worth? The voice of the huge meat mountain thundered. Relax, I just devoured a few resource planets. If that Milky Way Star Lord dares to come, Ao Du was silent for a moment, then began to speak. However, he hadn't finished speaking when his expression subtly changed. The massive meat mountain life seemed to sense something as well, its expression suddenly shifting. Who's there? Outside the planet, a man clothed in blue armor, his eyes calm, stood with his hands behind his back, looking down from on high, and quietly gazing at Ao Du and the gigantic meat mountain, smilingly said, Tell me, what do you plan to do if the Milky Way Star Lord dares to come? Before the words ended, the man extended his right hand, ripples of space began to undulate, and the originally massive planet twisted and shrank violently, ultimately becoming the size of a palm and was caught in the man's hand. Ao Du and the colossal meat mountain life, at this moment, became two ants, filled with fear as they looked up at the titan who loomed above them from the heavens. Chapter 427 I'm so scared, please subscribe. This is a mustard seed that can harbor the void. Ao Du's expression was ugly. The scene they were witnessing now, the man standing in the starry sky had turned into a giant that reached up to the heavens and down to the earth. In fact, the man's stature had not changed. It was them and the planet beneath their feet that were rapidly shrinking under the compression of the space rules. Such a method could only be mastered by powerful beings with an extremely high understanding of the space rules. According to the definition of the space rules by human civilization, one must have penetrated at least 1,800 core space models to do so. Generally speaking, a powerful being who has penetrated so many core space models would likely be at the peak of the 8th rank. Ao Du was familiar with all the peak 8th rank powerhouses in the Milky Way star region and the surrounding regions. But they had never heard of that man in the green armor before. Ao Du was puzzled, feeling the space force pressing in from all around, which made their scalp tingle. It's the Galaxy Master. The massive fleshy mountain nearby recognized him at once. It was aware of much information about the Galaxy Master, including relevant images, and the current giant standing beyond the sky bore a strong resemblance to the Galaxy Master. Plus the sentence the other party had just said, "Tell me, what do you plan to do if the Galaxy Master dares to come?" The massive fleshy mountain was almost certain that the other party was the Galaxy Master. The Galaxy Master. Aodu was somewhat dazed. They turned their head to look at the massive flesh mountain with confusion. Wasn't it said that the Galaxy Master had newly advanced to the 8th rank? How then could he reduce nearly 10 million li of planets to mesons with a mere wave of his hand? This level of spatial comprehension was not something even a peak 8th rank powerhouse might achieve, yet the Galaxy Master, who was just newly advanced to the 8th rank, had done it. Starry Sky Alliance, Shangshan, has seen the Galaxy Master. The massive fleshy mountain did not pay attention to Aodu's disbelief and hastily spoke with a hint of respect. Although it also found it hard to comprehend how the Galaxy Master could possess such tremendous strength, now was not the time to contend over these matters. The most important thing was to ease the atmosphere between them. Starry Sky Alliance, Aodu, has seen the Galaxy Master. Seeing this, Aodu also followed suit immediately. You special life forms, taking advantage of your noble bloodlines to act recklessly one after another. Now this star region is the domain of human civilization, wantonly devouring planets. Lin Yuan spoke indifferently. Do you really think we humans are like the Shadow Tribe? The Shadow Tribe, when dealing with these special life forms, was very tolerant. One reason was a reluctance to offend the forces behind these special life forms, and the other was that these special life forms themselves are not easy to deal with. Thus, normally, the strong ones of the Shadow Tribe would turn a blind eye, such as Aodu, who enjoyed devouring planets. As long as it was not too excessive, they would not interfere. We were wrong, Galaxy Master. The color on the massive fleshy mountain's face changed slightly. Through these words, it sensed that the Galaxy Master was somewhat dissatisfied. After today, we will obediently leave and will definitely not appear before the Galaxy Master again. The massive fleshy mountain Shangshan immediately said. Even if the Galaxy Master truly was only newly advanced to the 8th rank, upon learning of his attitude, the best choice for the two special life forms was to leave. After all, as the master of a star region, the Galaxy Master had plenty of ways to deal with them. Call on friends. Ask a teacher to intervene. These were all possibilities. Moreover, the strength that the Galaxy Master had just displayed was not inferior to that of a peak 8th rank, and his ill will was entirely unbearable for the two special life forms. You've swallowed so many of my planets, and you think you can just walk away lightly. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly, and with a mere thought, a tremendous force began to press down on the planet in his hand. Boom! Terrifying power swept across the surface of the planet. Lin Yuan still held back, otherwise, the planet would have collapsed instantly. Not good. The massive fleshy mountain's form suddenly swelled up, struggling to withstand the crushing force from all directions. However, Shangshan had a premonition that it couldn't hold out for long. How can this Galaxy Master be so monstrous? Is this what you call being newly advanced to the 8th rank? Is this what you call under 100 years old? The massive fleshy mountain Shangshan felt bitterly distressed. It looked at Aodu not far away, who had been forced to reveal their true form, but under the Galaxy Master's mustard seed technique, Aodu's true form was only the size of a little finger, devoid of all the majesty of a special life form, and instead seemed somewhat cute. Galaxy Master. After struggling for over a dozen breaths, the massive fleshy mountain life form Shangshan once again spoke. I am willing to pay 20,000 cubic universe crystals to compensate for the loss of the Star Lord. The massive fleshy mountain life was inwardly bitter. Most of the planets it had devoured were during the time when the Shadow Tribe ruled this star region, but there was nothing it could do, as now everything was decided by the Galaxy Master. I am willing as well. Aodu also said. They were also finding it hard to hold on. 20,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan glanced at the two special life forms. A normal 8th rank powerhouse might possess a number of universe crystals ranging from a few thousand to 10,000. Human beings who advanced to the 8th rank were somewhat wealthier, but not by much, at most just over 10,000. But these two special life forms were willing to cough up 20,000 cubic universe crystals straight away, clearly quite wealthy. This was understandable, as special life forms had long lifespans and many talents and abilities, which over the long years accumulated to make each of them excessively rich. What do you say, Galaxy Master? 20,000 cubic universe crystals should be enough to compensate you, said the massive fleshy mountain life form Shangshan, bleeding inwardly. It had cultivated the doppelganger skill, and its true body was in a distant star domain, but even so, this doppelganger that it had refined over many years nearly matched its true body in combat power. Chapter 428 I'm so scared, please subscribe, _2 if you were to fall, knowing how many years it would take to once again refine such a true body was beyond one's imagination. As long as this avatar is preserved, sacrificing some cosmic crystals is acceptable, the immense fleshy life form thought to itself. Over the long years, the investment in this avatar had been much more than 20,000 cubic cosmic crystals. Foolish. Lin Yuan did not stop, driving the immense power of the world, and continued to crush forward. If I killed you, wouldn't all those cosmic crystals be mine anyway? Galaxy Master, do you really plan to leave no way out? The immense flesh mountain life form Shangshan turned pale. It was willing to pay 20,000 cubic cosmic crystals, yet the Galaxy Master still intended to wipe them out completely. Galaxy Master, do you realize that we are members of the Starry Sky Alliance? Have you asked the Starry Sky Alliance if you want to kill us? Aodu finally couldn't hold back and spoke out. If it weren't absolutely necessary, it really didn't want to bring up the Starry Sky Alliance, given that this meant completely falling out with the Galaxy Master. Starry Sky Alliance. The expression on Lin Yuan's face didn't change. The Starry Sky Alliance, many special life forms, formed to resist humans, the insect race, and other peak clans. However, the structure of the Starry Sky Alliance was loose. After all, it was composed of various special life forms, and they were not as cohesive as humans and the insect race. But it was not to be underestimated. The reason why the Shadow Tribe tolerated Aodu and Shangshan was largely because of the Starry Sky Alliance behind them. But while the Shadow Tribe was wary of the Starry Sky Alliance, human civilization was not. Human civilization, with many evolvers, extracting countless special life forms' blood essence to create bloodline potions, was a bestseller. Correct, Galaxy Master, we are members of the Starry Sky Alliance, the immense flesh mountain Shangshan immediately said. At this point, they could only bring up the Starry Sky Alliance. Starry Sky Alliance, Lin Yuan's corner of the mouth lifted, ha ha ha, I'm so scared. Laughing, the terrifying soul fluctuations mixed with the force of the world, turned into a storm, heading towards Aodu. No. Facing the greatly increased assault, Aodu's body trembled. With a bang, it turned into a massive blood mist, even its soul rapidly dispersing. Aodu, the immense flesh mountain life form Shangshan was shaken. Aodu didn't cultivate the doppelganger skill. With its death, it was truly dead. You can accompany it as well. Lin Yuan looked at the immense flesh mountain life form, not forgetting to collect Aodu's blood essence mist and the opponent's spatial devices, all into his bag. Since Lin Yuan dared to come, he was not concerned about the Starry Sky Alliance backing the two special life forms. The Chikuan Starlord had told him, in the Milky Way star region, as long as he didn't betray human civilization, he could act freely, everything would be covered by human civilization. Galaxy Master, I will remember you. The immense flesh mountain Shangshan glared at Lin Yuan viciously, seeming to activate some technique. Its body began to rapidly shrink, and finally, along with the ubiquitous space force fluctuations, it vanished in an instant. As a special life form, Shang Shan was much more cautious than Ao Du. Upon learning that human civilization had taken over this star region, it reduced the frequency of devouring planets. In contrast, Ao Du was still fishing in troubled waters. Its cautious character prepared many life-saving means for Shang Shan. This kind of spatial transposition skill was obtained by Shang Shan at a great cost. It could, in an instant, move several light-years away. Yinyang Taiji, Isolation. Lin Yuan's pupils, one yin and one yang, the Taiji world phantom instantly enveloped nearly 100 million miles. The space began to solidify. The world phantom, not a world, was a projection of the inner world cast to the outside, which could be many times that of the inner world. At 80 million miles away, a sound like hitting a wall came. The immense flesh mountain life form Shang Shan was bewilderingly forced to appear. This? Shang Shan looked around. Isolated space. World phantom. This is a technique mastered by only 2,000 Space Corps models, and the inner world must at least reach a radius of 600,000 miles. What kind of monster is this Galaxy Master? Shang Shan felt somewhat desperate. Normally, the inner world of an 8th rank peak evolver was around 500,000 miles in radius. The larger the inner world, the stronger the 8th rank evolver's power. Relying on the immense inner world, it could even affect the external spacetime. If the individual's spatial awareness was sufficient, the influence exerted would even be greater. Now, Shang Shan was abruptly interrupted by this isolating force during its transposition. Lin Yuan took a step forward. He arrived above Shang Shan. Galaxy Master, I beg for mercy, just spare me once. The massive, fleshy mountain of life began to plead instinctively, as it couldn't withstand the strength displayed by the Galaxy Master now. Moreover, its teleportation method had been forcibly interrupted, and it couldn't perform a second instance for a short period, so the only way the massive, fleshy mountain of life could survive was by begging Lin Yuan. However, before it could finish speaking, Lin Yuan waved his hand. A massive force of the world, mixed with a soul attack, struck Shang Shan. The sound of crashing. The massive, fleshy mountain of life, Shang Shan, turned into an endless mist of blood. Lin Yuan then collected it all, as the blood essence of such special life was quite valuable, worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of cosmic crystals when made into a bloodline potion. I can feel that this special life hasn't died. Lin Yuan looked thoughtfully towards a certain direction. When he killed Ao Du, Lin Yuan did it smoothly, and the death of his opponent brought no confusion to Lin Yuan. But when killing Shang Shan, Lin Yuan felt a peculiar sensation. Karma. The true body of this special life is still alive, Lin Yuan quietly thought to himself. The rules of karma are very mysterious, able to derive many special skills, like the curse-killing skill. So long as life exists and interacts with the outside world, karma naturally forms. Therefore, entering the rules of karma is quite easy. For a being newly advanced to the 8th rank, almost all have an introductory understanding of the rules of karma. And once one enters the realm of the rules of karma, they can sense many karmic ties, just like Lin Yuan killing Ao Du, upon completely annihilating him, due to Ao Du's fall. The karmic connection between Lin Yuan and him ceased. But right after Lin Yuan killed Shang Shan, even though the opponent died, their connection still existed, which meant Shang Shan hadn't died. This is the simplest application of the rules of karma. Of course, it's easy to get started with the rules of karma. But mastering it in depth is incredibly difficult, even harder than fully comprehending the complete space rules. In a distant star domain. Within a cosmic secret realm. I spent hundreds of thousands of years and countless efforts to refine an avatar, and just like that, it's gone. Shang Shan felt utterly hollow. For such a cautious special life, an avatar is very important. The true body hidden here, with the avatar venturing out, was meant to be foolproof. But now, the avatar is gone. To create another would take centuries or millennia, and even then, it wouldn't be as good as the previous one. My avatar, my treasures, my cosmic crystals. Shang Shan felt like crying but had no tears. I shouldn't have hesitated. Regret surged in Shang Shan's heart. Usually, after the Shadow Tribe retreated, it should have followed suit. After all, the one coming in to dominate that star region was the Human Civilization Alliance. But Shang Shan harbored blind hope, thinking that even if human civilization took over, it might not necessarily harbor any malice towards him. Not every human star overlord shunned special life forms. And even if the new human star overlord did bear ill will, couldn't one just flee when the time came? The new star overlord of human civilization, typically a newly advanced evolver to the 8th rank, had no chance of retaining such a being nearly at the peak of 8th rank. But who could have imagined that the Galaxy Master would be so monstrous? Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Thinking of the Galaxy Master's methods, Shang Shan couldn't help but shudder. All along, Shang Shan harbored no thoughts of revenge, joking, right? Seek revenge. Against the Galaxy Master. Against the Human Civilization Alliance. Even the supreme beings of the Grand Starry Sky Alliance couldn't manage it, so what could he, a mere special life form, use to seek revenge? It would be fortunate enough just to save his own life. Chapter 429 The Tremor of the Milky Way Star Region, subscription requested. Although Lin Yuan was aware that Shang Shan wasn't dead, he didn't pay too much attention to it. With Lin Yuan's cultivation speed, he could crush Shang Shan now. What about later on? The one who should fear was the other party. Let's take a look at the spoils of war. Lin Yuan placed the giant planet back onto the star Dao. This planet, capable of being used as a nest by two 8th-layer special life forms, was naturally extraordinary and was considered rare among high-tier life planets, enveloping tons of gentle cosmic energy. When Lin Yuan struck at Ao Du and Shang Shan, he also did his best to avoid damaging the planet, restraining the aftermath to the planet's surface. Special life blood essence. The first thing was the large amount of blood essences that Lin Yuan had collected. Cosmic special life forms were rare, many of which were bred by the universe and incapable of reproduction. Their blood essences were far superior to humans. Human civilization had, long ago, attempted to integrate these special life forms' bloodlines into human bloodlines to get stronger offspring. This gave birth to bloodline potions. Through special means, extracting the blood of special life forms to produce bloodline potion essences. These could be integrated into one's own offspring's bloodline, and for those evolvers looking to establish a family, a single bloodline potion essence was enough to make the family prosper for long years. Speaking of which, I still have a 3-headed ice wolf blood essence potion. Lin Yuan seemed to recall something, a smile appearing on his face. The 3-headed ice wolf blood essence potion was one of the legacies left by 8th-layer evolutionist Oin. Sourced from the special life 3-headed ice wolf. Back then, to create such a potion, evolutionist Oin had slaughtered countless 3-headed ice wolves. I could probably make 8 or 9 bloodline potions. Lin Yuan roughly calculated based on the blood left by Shang Shan and Ao Du. These two special life forms were gigantic, almost comparable to ordinary life planets. Naturally, their blood was much more plentiful than that of the 3-headed ice wolf. Although the 3-headed ice wolf was also a special life form, it was only dozens of meters in size, far less than Shang Shan and Ao Du. 8 or 9 bloodline potions. Even if one is only 3,000 cubic universe crystals, it adds up to nearly 30,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan was in a good mood. Many human 8th-layer evolvers, with all their treasures and weapons combined, were only worth about 10,000 cubic universe crystals. Yet now, Lin Yuan's gains, just from the blood essences, amounted to the entire fortunes of 3 8th-layer evolvers. This was still him possibly underestimating the bloodline potions. In reality, most bloodline potions were worth more than 3,000 cubic universe crystals each. Next, Lin Yuan began to explore the many treasures of the 2 special life forms. Really quite wealthy. No wonder they offered 20,000 universe crystals, Lin Yuan exclaimed in admiration. The 2 special life forms, Shangshan and Ao, had amassed a collection of many treasures, ores, weapons, etc., summing up to more than 60,000 cubic universe crystals. Among them, Shangshan contributed more than 40,000 cubic universe crystals, and Ao contributed over 20,000 cubic universe crystals. Including the bloodline essences made from these 2 special life forms bloodlines, Lin Yuan's income from this venture was estimated to be over 100,000 cubic universe crystals. Never expected to recoup the cosmic crystals for the planetary transformation so quickly. A smile spread across Lin Yuan's face. The B-level transformation of the Milky Way main star had cost Lin Yuan 100,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan initially thought that these 100,000 cubic universe crystals would only be earned back once the Milky Way star region was fully operational and trade channels were established. But now, by merely cleaning up 2 special life forms, he had broken even. Continue. There are a few more targets. Lin Yuan immediately headed in another direction. After obtaining detailed information on the many special life forms and alien lone walkers entrenched in the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan classified these special life forms and alien lone walkers into 2 categories. The first type was like Shangshan and Ao, which fed on planets, leaving them was detrimental and useless to the Milky Way star region. Thus, Lin Yuan's approach to these special life forms was either to kill them directly, permanently eliminating future troubles, or to drive them out of the Milky Way star region. The second type, which didn't impact the star region and could form a symbiotic relationship with the Milky Way star region, included some special life form groups capable of producing treasures and rare items with incredible effects on human evolvers. As long as these special life form groups were compliant, Lin Yuan was willing to let them stay and even assign protection for them. The targets Lin Yuan was now rushing towards were the first type of special life forms and alien lone walkers. After tasting the sweetness of success, Lin Yuan knew he had to move as fast as possible, otherwise, once the news spread, those special life forms would probably have fled far away in fear. On a desolate planet, Lin Yuan's figure appeared, a massive shadow of world force suppressing the entire planet. 2 alien lone walkers knelt down without hesitation. "Lord, spare our lives, Lord, spare our lives." Compared to Shangshan, these 2 alien lone walkers obviously lacked sufficient intelligence, not even recognizing the Galaxy Master. Even if they didn't know Lin Yuan's identity, just the oppressive force of the world power made them feel like it was the end of the world. This man in blue armor markedly stronger than them. Most likely a peak 8th-layer powerhouse. "Sir, there must be some misunderstanding between us. I hope you can give us a chance," the 2 alien lone walkers pleaded extremely humbly. Chapter 430 The Tremor of the Milky Way Star Region. Subscription requested. _2 Lin Yuan looked down from beyond the skies at these 2 alien lone walkers. "If you feed on the souls of life, when my fellow human citizens migrate here, won't they all become your sustenance? They cannot be allowed to remain." Lin Yuan pronounced judgment on these 2 different species. Taking advantage of the fact that human citizens have not yet migrated here, all potential threats must be eradicated, or there will be trouble later. Human citizens migrating here, the hearts of the 2 alien lone walkers turned cold. Indeed, they relished devouring living souls, but had they ever actually preyed on human citizens? However, before they could continue this train of thought, they felt their consciousness plunge into darkness. With a mere thought from Lin Yuan, the two alien lone walkers were reduced to dust. Theoretically, these two alien lone walkers had not lifted a finger against humans. But to be on the safe side, Lin Yuan couldn't be bothered to make distinctions. After all, they were both different species who enjoyed consuming souls, and keeping them around wouldn't create any value. It was simpler to kill them. As for expulsion, nearby were all human civilization star domains. To expel them to another star domain would be to harm the human citizens there, wouldn't it? Half a day later, Lin Yuan's figure appeared in front of a star. In the distance, an alien creature covered in scales and sporting a sharp horn fled in a frenzy. However, when the creature saw Lin Yuan standing in the distance, it came to an abrupt stop, filled with a look of despair. Galaxy Master, I admit my methods have indeed been cruel, but that was all directed towards the Shadow Tribe, the horned alien could not help but say. Not long ago, it had learned that the Galaxy Master was hunting down some particularly brutal special life forms and alien lone walkers. But before it could react, the Galaxy Master appeared. Without a second thought, the creature began to flee frantically, although it did not understand how the newly advanced to the 8th rank Galaxy Master was able to easily slay several 8th rank aliens. But running was the right move. If that's the case, after the Shadow Tribe withdrew, why did you remain in this star domain? Lin Yuan looked at the horned alien, speaking calmly. The horned alien was suddenly at a loss for words. It had stayed behind, naturally, to test the temper of the new Star Lord. If the new Star Lord was indifferent to such matters, it would continue, as before, to occasionally devour human citizens for cultivation. If the new Star Lord was assertive, then it would obediently leave. This was the common thought process among most special life forms and alien lone walkers. Little did they know that the Galaxy Master was so decisively lethal that they were given no chance for testing the waters. Whoosh! The next moment, the horned alien's form turned to dust. Lin Yuan, not wasting words with the horned alien, eliminated it with a direct strike and continued towards the next target. Lin Yuan, according to his own classification of those special life forms and alien lone walkers, would kill any that fell into the first category. The Star Lords of human civilization often acted with a gentle hand, generally not opting for kill unless there were direct harms to human citizens. But Lin Yuan's methods were clearly far more ruthless. In the cosmic starry sky where strength reigned supreme, if one day human civilization declined, those different species wouldn't hesitate to slaughter humans. Therefore, even though some alien lone walkers hadn't acted against human citizens, just harboring the thought was enough for Lin Yuan to show no mercy. To judge by actions, not intentions, was a standard applied within the same human race. In dealing with other species, unless they were submissive to human civilization or had formed alliances with it, Lin Yuan would scarcely hold back. Spare not those who deserve no quarter. Several days later, Lin Yuan had essentially purged the first category of special life forms and alien lone walkers. 90% of these special life forms and alien lone walkers died by Lin Yuan's hand, while the remaining 10% managed to escape by luck. It couldn't be helped. Acting against one at a time made it easy for news to leak. Some aliens' avatars were not in the Milky Way star region, and once the avatar died, the original could spread the message, warning some alien lone walkers to escape in time. But overall, Lin Yuan's departure from the Milky Way main star was fruitful, largely achieving his goal. Those first-class special life groups, alien lone walkers, have basically disappeared from the Milky Way star region. When Lin Yuan commenced a massacre of the special life groups and alien lone walkers in the Milky Way star region, it naturally alarmed other forces. These forces, mostly special life groups, were deemed by Lin Yuan as second class, with the potential to aid in the development of the Milky Way star region, so they did not interfere. In this star domain, many 7th rank and 8th rank powerhouses have fallen. Just among those I know, there are 13 7th rank, and 1 8th rank that have completely died. What exactly happened? Those 8th rank special lives, each with incredible means of preservation, who could easily kill them. Some of the alien strong ones I knew are also dead. A special life group named Floral Deity Race, where many powerhouses gathered, were discussing anxiously and uneasily. Although the Floral Deity Race is a special life group, its direct combat ability is not strong, yet the race can reproduce normally. The members of the Floral Deity Race can brew a kind of exquisite liquor called Flower God Wine, which, when consumed by most life forms, can lead to a short period of mental clarity, tremendously aiding in the comprehension of rules and secret techniques. It was for this reason that during the Shadow Tribe's rule over this area, the Floral Deity Race managed to barely survive by offering Flower God Wine as tribute. Have you noticed that the 7th rank and 8th rank powerhouses who died all belonged to those types with cruel methods, who would devour planets readily? A Floral Deity Race powerhouse, who looked like a young girl, suddenly said. She was a 7th rank powerhouse and now one of the strongest in the Floral Deity Race. However, the combat power of the Floral Deity Race's 7th rank powerhouses was basically at the bottom, and they were not even as strong as those among the human civilization who had the basic destructive capabilities of the 7th rank, solely through the use of 7th rank evolution elixirs. Yes. Indeed it is so. Even 8th rank powerhouses have died, yet our Floral Deity Race is still alive and well. The other Floral Deity Race powerhouses caught on and began to discuss among themselves. At this moment, a Floral Deity Race powerhouse with butterfly wings slightly changed her expression. She stood up, looked towards the rest of the Floral Deity Race powerhouses, and said, "Everyone, I have just received a message." This Floral Deity Race powerhouse looked around gravely. A message? What message? Hurry up and tell us, what message is it? One by one, the Floral Deity Race powerhouses inquired, knowing that a message received at this time was very likely related to the inexplicable deaths of the 7th rank and 8th rank members of the alien races. The one targeting those 7th rank and 8th rank members of the alien races is the Galaxy Master, a peerless genius of human civilization. His action was to eradicate all unstable elements within the Milky Way star region, the standing Floral Deity Race powerhouse said with a solemn tone. The Galaxy Master. I know of this human genius, but wasn't he said to be newly advanced to the 8th rank? Yes, newly advanced to the 8th rank, slaying those almost at the peak 8th rank alien strong ones as if slaughtering pigs and dogs. The many Floral Deity Race powerhouses were shocked. Those 8th rank special lives, alien lone walkers, who were adept at fighting with inconceivable methods, have they all been killed? There were two possibilities. One possibility is that these 8th rank special lives and alien lone walkers were all show and no substance, easily defeated. But this likelihood was virtually nil. If so, how could they have coexisted peacefully with the Shadow Tribe for so many years? Did they really take the Shadow Tribe for philanthropists? The other possibility was that the power of the Galaxy Master was beyond comprehension, which was why he could easily dispose of those special lives and alien lone walkers. I am grateful that our Floral Deity Race is still of some use, otherwise, the standing Floral Deity Race powerhouse sighed. According to the information she had, the killing conducted by the Galaxy Master was not irrational but selectively targeted. The Floral Deity Race posed no danger to the star region but could brew the Flower God Wine, which was highly beneficial to evolvers. Was that why they were spared by the Galaxy Master? Alright. No matter what you all think, the Floral Deity Race powerhouse steadied herself, subdued the shock in her heart, and continued speaking. Previously, in this star region, the heavens were the Shadow Tribe, those powerful special lives, the alien lone walkers. Now, in this star region, there is only one heaven. She paused for a moment, then said with a fervent tone, and that is the Galaxy Master. Chapter 431 Grasping the Taiyang Rule, subscription requested. The Galaxy Master relentlessly persecuted special life groups, as well as alien lone walkers, and the situation continued to ferment. Even though it was speculated that the targets of the Galaxy Master's persecution were those who had caused severe damage to the environment within the star domain, or those who enjoyed consuming the soul and flesh of living beings, it still caused panic among the remaining special life groups, as well as the alien lone walkers. The Galaxy Master is too overbearing. Back then, the Chikuan Star Lord was the same, showing no mercy towards us special lives. The Galaxy Master is establishing his power. Without these ruthless methods, how can he fully take control of this star domain in the future? Outside the floral deity race, various special life forms and alien lone walkers discussed. These special life forms and alien lone walkers, although without the virtual world of human civilization capable of real-time communication without delay, also had their own means of communication, which could enable basic communication within a star domain. What shall we do now? What can we do? Surrender, of course. Do we dare to oppose the Human Civilization Alliance? Gentlemen, don't be hasty. The Galaxy Master's cleansing method indicates he intends to fully control the star domain. We, the different species, can only choose to submit, but Lord Beifeng surely won't submit so easily, a powerful special life form said. Lord Beifeng. The rest of the special life forms and alien lone walkers fell silent at the mention of his name. As a territory once ruled by the Shadow Tribe, the Milky Way star region had many special life forms and alien lone walkers as permanent residents. Among these special life forms and alien lone walkers, there were no lack of 8th rank powerhouses, and Lord Beifeng was undoubtedly the strongest. He was the indisputable peak powerhouse of the 8th layer. Lord Beifeng came from the Golden Lion clan, a powerful group within the universe. Lord Beifeng traveled the universe and came to this star domain to prepare for his breakthrough to the 9th rank. An 8th rank powerhouse does not necessarily need to master a type of cosmic force to become invincible and then break through to the 9th rank. As long as one reaches the peak pinnacle of the 8th layer, there is hope to merge with the fusion rules and then assault the 9th rank. Lord Beifeng was at the peak pinnacle of the 8th layer. However, at Lord Beifeng's level, external forces could hardly help him make that step. As a result, Lord Beifeng spent most of his time in retreat, indifferent to the affairs of the outside world. He belonged to the second category of special life forms and alien lone walkers defined by Lin Yuan. Lord Beifeng is very powerful, surely that Galaxy Master wouldn't dare to impose on him. Very powerful. Is he as strong as the Chikuan Star Lord? As strong as the human civilization? Regardless, this matter between the Galaxy Master and Lord Beifeng is their own. We can only go with the flow. Many special life forms and alien lone walkers discussed a great deal, but ultimately, they dispersed. Whatever the outcome of the negotiations between the Galaxy Master and Lord Beifeng, it was irrelevant to them. This star domain was destined to be ruled by the Galaxy Master. Who would have thought that even hiding here, I cannot meditate in peace, a burly elder with golden hair said, sitting cross-legged in the void. His aura merged with the starry sky, vast and expansive, spreading out for tens of millions of miles in every direction. A once-in-lifetime human genius, entering the 8th layer before the age of 100, and now even possessing combat power of the 8th layer's peak. This golden-haired burly elder was none other than Lord Beifeng, the peak powerhouse of the 8th layer. Better not to provoke any trouble, better to find another place. The golden-haired burly elder sighed, stood up, took a step, and with a ripple of spatial fluctuation, his figure appeared tens of millions of miles away. The Golden Lion clan, although not part of the Human Civilization Alliance, bore no significant grudge against human civilization. There was no need for Beifeng to have any interaction with the Galaxy Master. The retreat of Lord Beifeng, the strongest in this star domain, truly shocked the special life forms and alien lone walkers. They had originally thought that with Lord Beifeng's strength, Even if he dared not confront the Galaxy Master directly, he would at least negotiate to secure some benefits before leaving. Instead, he had not even thought twice before evacuating the star domain. Milky Way Main Star. The Golden Lion Clan, Beifeng. Lin Yuan also learned right away of the news that an 8th-rank peak powerhouse of a different species had voluntarily left. Quite cautious, Lin Yuan smiled faintly, knowing that even though Lord Beifeng was powerful, he was mostly in retreat and did not significantly impact the outside world. Lin Yuan hadn't planned to act against him, but the latter's cooperation made him feel quite pleased. Now the entire Milky Way star region has basically been cleared, there's no need for me to concern myself further, Lin Yuan thought to himself. As the master of the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan's greatest role was deterrence, presiding over the main star and intimidating all corners of the region. As for managing the main star, developing the star domain, naturally, these were not tasks for the Star Lord, but for his subordinates to handle. The Chikuan Star Lord spent most of his time either in retreat or sleeping, and the Chikuan Star Domain was just fine, overseen by 3 goddesses, with no major issues likely to arise. The 2 8th-rank alien races given to Lin Yuan by the Chikuan Star Lord were there to manage the main star and the Star Domain. Continue my practice and pursue enlightenment. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, whether on the Chikuan main star or now on the Milky Way main star, there wasn't much difference for him, most of his time was spent on cultivation. In another palace, Hongpi, Bian, as well as Chun Bo and Jiali, the 4 were gathered together. Those different species, they're just too obedient. We tell them to come, and they come without even proposing any conditions. Jiali looked at the replies from the different species, his tone inevitably astonished. Chapter 432 Grasping the Taiyang Rule, subscription requested, _2 The Milky Way star region needs stable trade channels for development, especially on the main star, various merchants must be stationed. And the top choice for these merchants naturally are those indigenous different species within the star domain, all of which have their own capabilities and techniques, such as the flower god wine of the floral deity race. It is quite famous in the nearby dozens of star domains. Originally, to invite these alien tribes to station themselves, something had to be offered first, such as promises of rent-free. But before they could propose these offers, the alien tribes actively cooperated, not daring to set any conditions. After the Star Lord's purge, how could those alien races dare to disobey? Hongpi, with green eyes, do not find anything unexpected. The Chikuan Star Lord had been even more domineering than Lin Yuan back in the day. Those indigenous alien tribes had to be obedient in order to survive. However, a look passed between Hongpi and the green-eyed being, both 8th-rank alien races, and still a shock shone deep in their eyes. What shocked them was not the exceedingly compliant alien races, but Lin Yuan's strength. In order to assist Lin Yuan in controlling the Milky Way star region as much as possible, they had made dozens of plans before coming here. Scheming to win people over one by one, promising significant benefits, all with the aim of quickly seizing control of the Milky Way star region. But now, none of the plans they formulated were needed. Lin Yuan, with his absolute strength, terrified those alien races. Even though these 2 8th-rank alien races had long known about Lin Yuan's inner world, with a radius of 700,000 li, and combat power almost reaching the peak of the 8th layer, however, just having combat power at the peak of the 8th layer doesn't mean you can freely slaughter those 8th-rank alien races. 8th-rank alien races are not fools, knowing they can't win, why would they willingly stay to be killed? Lin Yuan easily retained those 8th-rank alien races, relying not only on combat power, but also on a strength that was nearly flawless in all aspects. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had gone by. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, slowly perfecting his martial path evolutionary path. Suddenly, everyone on the Milky Way main star felt a scorching surge as if a great sun had descended. Chun Bo and Jia Li's expressions changed slightly. They looked toward the source of this disturbance, which was at the palace where the Galaxy Master cultivated. In the void, light and heat began to fill the space, as if a great sun had fallen to the ground, and that palace seemed to have turned into a miniature sun. It's the manifestation of rule fluctuations, the fire system rules taking shape. Hongbi and the green-eyed being were excited. They knew all too well what this scene meant. Fire system rule manifestation. Could it be the Star Lord has penetrated some kind of fire system rule? Chun Bo and Jia Li's eyes widened. Penetrating any kind of rule, even just a regular one, is a domain only peak 8th layer powerhouses could touch. Lin Yuan had entered the 8th layer not long ago, and although his combat power was not inferior to those at the peak, combat power and realm are two different things. Lin Yuan possesses combat power at the peak of the 8th layer, possibly due to an abnormal evolutionary path he cultivated, a powerful secret technique he mastered, or some other fortuitous encounter. But penetrating some kind of rule can only rely on oneself. The fact that the Galaxy Master penetrated some kind of fire system rule indicates that he has fully mastered this power. The Star Lord, Hongbi and the green-eyed being fell silent. Having spent a great deal of time in Lin Yuan's inner world, they are aware that the Galaxy Master's understanding of the space rules has reached an incredibly deep level, but now, Lin Yuan has quietly penetrated some kind of fire system rule. Could it be that there is life in this universe that can leap from a day to 100 or 1,000 years? Deep within the palace, Lin Yuan opened his eyes, a look of satisfaction on his face. Taiyang rule. Lin Yuan looked up slightly. Endless light and heat from all directions converged toward him, forming a sun seal the size of a thumb, which finally merged into Lin Yuan's forehead and vanished from sight. I didn't expect to penetrate the Taiyang rule so unconsciously. Lin Yuan's mind was filled with pleasure. He had never deliberately comprehended the Taiyang rule. It was only during the refinement of the martial path evolutionary path that the Taiyang rule and the Taiyin rule were being continuously understood more deeply. The martial path evolutionary path that Lin Yuan followed was structured upon Taiyin, Taiyang, and Taiji as the framework. In its perfection, the understanding of the Taiyang and Taiyin rules advanced as if rising with the tide. This early comprehension of the Taiyang rule is also related to the Red Kun lineage incorporating many fire system evolution paths, Lin Yuan thought to himself. As the 13th peak master of the Red Kun lineage, Lin Yuan naturally had a thorough understanding of the evolution paths his family had amassed. The Red Kun lineage was most skilled in the fire and space rules, after all. The Star Lord, Chikuan Star Lord, had walked these two paths. Hence, among the many evolution paths they had collected, those based on fire and space were dominant. As a result, Lin Yuan's understanding of the Taiyang rule was much superior to that of the Taiyin rule, and now he had even comprehended the Taiyang rule first. The Taiyang rule is the sublimated rule of the fire system, symbolizing endless light and heat. The formidable 8th rank Wanyang Star Lord from the Human Civilization Alliance was rooted in the Taiyang rule, forging her invincible path among the Eights. Her signature move Wanyang Same Heaven, Lin Yuan remembered it well and had sublimated it to create a series of Taiyang rule-based techniques. With the Taiyang rule comprehended, my combat power and the perfection of the martial path evolutionary path have both greatly advanced. Lin Yuan appeared satisfied. Moreover, my path involves the fusion of both the Taiyang and Taiyin rules. Having understood the Taiyang rule, I am not far from fully grasping the Taiyin rule, Lin Yuan silently contemplated. The so-called way of Taiji inherently complements Yin and Yang. As Taiyang strengthens, it compensates for Taiyin, and as Taiyin fortifies, it reimburses Taiyang. This compensation is not just in power, but extends to the comprehension of rules as well. It's just that, even after fully grasping both the Taiyang and Taiyin rules, comprehending the complete space rules still seems an indefinitely long way off. Lin Yuan then turned his contemplation to the space rules. The core space models he had comprehended were still slightly over 2,000 in variety. According to human civilization's interpretation of the space rules, comprehending 7,782 core space models equates to mastering the space rules. But to comprehend these 7,782 core space models is exceedingly difficult. As a foundational rule, they almost represent the essence of the universe. Even the powerful Chikuan Star Lord had not yet fully grasped the core space models nor mastered the space rules. Keep in mind, the Chikuan Star Lord is a starry sky wanderer Kuan, a darling of the cosmic space origin source. If even he has not comprehended it, one can imagine the difficulty involved. Take it slowly. I am still very young and have plenty of time to contemplate. Lin Yuan reined in his thoughts. With his against heaven's understanding, he had rarely encountered any significant bottlenecks on the path of rule comprehension. Even with something as vast as the space rules, given time, he will eventually grasp them. If not for the fact that his current realm was not high, Lin Yuan would even consider contemplating the rule of time. But if I were to comprehend the Taiyin rule and then merge it with the Taiyang rule, what would it become? Lin Yuan frowned slightly. Fusion with a foundational rule, such as space, time, or life, along with some ordinary rule, is one of the prerequisites for advancing from the 8th to the 9th rank. However, both the Taiyin and Taiyang rules are not foundational rules. If they were to be fused, what would be formed? The Taiji rule. Until now, Lin Yuan had never heard of a Taiji rule. Taiji is merely Lin Yuan's own definition for what might result from the fusion of Taiyin and Taiyang. The fusion of Taiyang and Taiyin, in an exact proportion, neither more nor less, could potentially result in the ultimate Taiji. Without the complete comprehension of the Taiyin and Taiyang rules, their fusion remains incomplete and the rule contact is not comprehensive, so it seems that no change has occurred. Thinking about these things now is meaningless, it's better to wait until the Taiyin rule is fully understood. Lin Yuan closed his eyes and resumed his cultivation. With the complete Taiyang rule to supplement him, Lin Yuan's comprehension of the Taiyin rule accelerated significantly. While Lin Yuan was immersed in cultivation, the Milky Way star region was rapidly developing. Outside the Milky Way main star, within the cosmic starry sky, two figures appeared silently. The Milky Way star region's main star. The two figures stood side by side, a man and a woman, gazing down at the massive planet below. Chapter 433 Grey Gourd, please subscribe. The man and woman both had formidable presences, they were 8th rank evolvers. The man was tall, with pupils of a sky blue color, obviously of extraordinary bloodline. The woman wore a light white robe, exuding a profound air, with silver patterns faintly visible on her forehead. This planet was originally a strategic planet of the Shadow Tribe, controlling the star domain from here. But now, it has become the main star of our human civilization. The male evolver exclaimed in admiration. To be precise, it's the main star of the Milky Way star region. That galaxy master, with his immense wealth, directly upgraded this planet to a grade B planet. The female evolver said with a smile. It was a well-known fact that the galaxy master was fabulously wealthy. After all, 100,000 cubic universe crystals was no small sum, a peak of the 8th rank evolver could not amass it. If Lin Yuan wasn't a top genius of human civilization, an 8th rank evolver below the age of 100, it wouldn't be possible for him to have more than 100,000 cubic universe crystals even with the celebration of advancing to the 8th rank. Those major powers and lone evolvers were not foolish. If Lin Yuan were just an ordinary evolver, they probably wouldn't even celebrate. Even out of respect for the Chikuan Star Lord, at most they would give a token gesture. How could they possibly bleed wealth in their gifts? This galaxy master is indeed extraordinary, not only in his financial strength but also in power. Shortly after taking office, he purged this star domain of special life forms and alien lone walkers, staining his hands with the blood of at least 6 or 7 members of the 8th rank alien race. Speaking to this point, the male evolver's face showed some hesitation. I don't know if you would be willing to accept our allegiance. Besides, this galaxy master is very young, not yet 100 years old. If the two of us take the initiative to follow him, the male evolver voiced his true thoughts. In the 10,000 races of the cosmic starry sky, it's quite normal for the weak to follow the strong. But both of them were several tens of thousands of years old, to follow a youngster who was not yet 100 years old. In the Human Civilization Alliance, or even among other groups, once a decision to follow is made, one is completely bound to the leader. No matter what happens in the future, the connection can't be cut. Lu Ran, you care too much about face, and thus you miss out on opportunities. The female evolver beside him shook her head slightly. The Galaxy Master is too young right now, which makes it the perfect time for us to follow him. Otherwise, with the Galaxy Master's cultivation speed, by the time he's a few thousand or tens of thousands of years old, invincible at the 8th rank. Or even a 9th rank evolver, by then, he probably won't accept followers. By following him now, while others are still hesitant, will not only gain benefits but will at least have a higher status than those who follow later. The female evolver thought comprehensively. Face. Only the weak care about their face. You're right. The male evolver nodded slightly upon hearing this. He knew well the difference between offering timely aid and adding flowers to the brocade. Now the Galaxy Master had just newly advanced to the 8th rank and had just taken over a star domain. Their following him at this time could actually be of help. It was somewhat like providing timely help during a crisis. By becoming followers, we must obey the Galaxy Master's orders, otherwise, even if the Galaxy Master kills us, the 3 goddesses will not intervene. The male evolver stated. To obtain something, one must give something. It's delusional to expect benefits without risks. The female evolver headed straight toward the Milky Way main star. Seeing this, the male evolver immediately followed. The two rapidly descended onto the star platform of the Milky Way main star. Boom, boom, boom. The planetary defense system of the Milky Way main star emitted vast fluctuations, enveloping them. A great B planet's defense system was enough to suppress most 8th-layer powerhouses in an instant. You two 8th rank members, what brings you here? An alien with dark red skin flew out. He examined them cautiously. 8th rank. The two 8th rank man and woman were shocked internally. They had originally thought they would be the first to follow the Galaxy Master. To their surprise, there were already other 8th rank individuals who had followed, and this member was from a different species. We've long heard of the great reputation of the Galaxy Master, and we've come specifically to pay him a visit. The female 8th ranker immediately declared their intent. A visit to the Star Lord. The two of you. After pondering for a moment, the red-skinned alien said, "I'll go inquire with the Star Lord." To request an audience with the Star Lord required the consent of the Star Lord himself. The red-skinned alien was not in a position to decide. A moment later, looking at the two, Humpy nodded and said, "The Star Lord has agreed. Follow me." Shortly after, the male and female evolvers entered the palace. Lin Yuan was clad in green 8th rank armor, sitting cross-legged, engrossed in pondering the space rule model. Upon their entrance, he slowly opened his eyes. It was as if the rising sun had appeared. Lu Ran and Luan Wei felt a dryness in their mouths and immediately said with utmost respect, "We've come to see the Galaxy Master." Lu Ran, Luan Wei. Lin Yuan spoke calmly. All 8th rank evolvers from the Human Civilization Alliance were registered, and with Lin Yuan's memory, he naturally remembered them clearly. The pair before him had stepped into the 8th rank several thousand years ago. After fulfilling their duty of guarding a star domain, they had actively relinquished their roles to journey through the universe. Guarding a star domain and becoming a Star Lord was certainly a lucrative role, but it was also like being confined within drawn boundaries. A Star Lord must remain in their star domain, or have an avatar or the original body guarding it. They could not leave, which some evolvers found hard to accept, so they do not always remain as Star Lords. We've heard that the Galaxy Master, by his own hand, cleared the star domain of all unruly different species, and we admire that, hence we have come specially to follow. Chapter 434 Grey Gourd, please subscribe, _2 The female evolver spoke softly. Follow me. Lin Yuan's expression remained unchanged. As a student of Qikuan Starlord, he already had many followers. What do you want? Lin Yuan asked directly. Once the decision to follow was made, Lin Yuan would control their fate, and not even the three goddesses could intervene. Thus, followers must have their own desires. When Heiyu Mo of the Heiyu family decided to follow the Qikuan Starlord, his request was to establish a family legacy. That's why there was a time when the Heiyu family shone brilliantly in the Qikuan star domain. After stepping into the 8th layer, we deeply feel the hardship of cultivation, so in the future, if Starlord can step into the 9th layer, just giving us some guidance would suffice, Lu Ran said respectfully. Although the virtual world of human civilization contains some cultivation experiences of 9th rank evolvers, those are personal experiences of 9th rank evolvers which don't offer much help to them. But how difficult is it to receive personal guidance from a 9th rank evolver? No problem, Lin Yuan consented in just a moment's thought. Simply giving some guidance couldn't be easier. Now that he had begun to take charge of the Milky Way star region, he urgently needed a large number of subordinates, and 2 8th rank evolvers could save him a lot of trouble. Moreover, Lu Ran and Luan Wei had clear backgrounds and were both human evolvers. They could be somewhat trusted, so Lin Yuan agreed to take them in directly. Thank you, Star-Lord. Lu Ran and Luan Wei relaxed upon hearing this. They originally thought that being under the Milky Way Starlord wouldn't be an issue, but when they met Lin Yuan, they realized they had underestimated the Starlord whose insight into the rules far exceeded their imaginations. Merely sitting there and looking at them made their hearts tremble. So once again they doubted themselves until Lin Yuan nodded in agreement and they could let go of their concerns. You both stay on the main star for now, and if there's anything that needs to be done later, you can take care of it. You won't be doing it for nothing, Lin Yuan said. In fact, one could exploit followers as much as possible, but Lin Yuan didn't wish to do that. A star domain, if developed well, can generate vast benefits. Lin Yuan was willing to share some of that. Qikuan main star. 13 peaks. The Taiyang divine spirit was sitting cross-legged deep in the hole. With Lin Yuan's understanding of the Taiyang rule, the presence of the Taiyang divine spirit also soared. The Taiying primordial spirit, originally condensed by Lin Yuan from the power of Taiyang, was closely related to the Taiyang rule. His comprehension of the Taiyang rule was clearly beneficial to the elevation of the Taiyang divine spirit. My current strength. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face as the world of flames within him began to expand wildly until it reached a radius of 400,000 li. It had reached the normal standard of an inner world for an 8th rank peak evolver. Not weaker than an ordinary 8th rank peak, the young god Lin Yuan appraised himself. With a complete understanding of the Taiyang rule, for the Taiyang divine spirit, that meant being at the peak of the 8th layer. Moreover, the Taiyang divine spirit wasn't following the martial Tao cultivation system. Its essence was a primordial spirit, and the limit of the rules was its limit. Now it's at the peak of the 8th layer, but if I understand the Taiying rule, and the Taiying primordial spirit also reaches the peak of the 8th layer, what would our combined strength be when we merge into the Taiji primordial spirit? Lin Yuan's yang spirit anticipated inwardly. The Taiyin and Taiyang primordial spirits condensed by Lin Yuan through the martial path evolutionary path were split from the Taiji primordial spirit. the two could also merge as one. Moreover, when the Taiyang Divine Spirit and the Taiyin Primordial Spirit are fused, their strength will surge significantly, possibly not weaker than the main body. At the 7th layer, if the Taiyin and Taiyang Primordial Spirits merged, they could even forcefully create a second Taiji microcosm. Speaking of the Taiyin Primordial Spirit, I should be able to go to the medium-sized otherworldly battlefield now, right? The young god Lin Yuan pondered. Eternal spatial rifts in the medium-sized otherworldly battlefields are much larger than those in the small-sized ones. Lin Yuan speculated that being in such large eternal spatial rifts might accelerate the accumulation of the world-breaking origin force. However, when Lin Yuan was at the 7th rank, the goddess of wisdom did not advise him to go to the medium-sized otherworldly battlefields, not even with an avatar. Avatars are not invincible. Some unbeatable 8th rank as well as 9th rank evolvers have the means to counter avatars. Lin Yuan was a peerless genius of human civilization and the founder of the martial path evolutionary path. The goddess of wisdom naturally prioritized safeguarding his safety. Now that Lin Yuan had stepped into the 8th layer, heading to a medium-sized otherworldly battlefield should pose no problem. Theoretically speaking, the strongest beings in a medium-sized otherworldly battlefield are invincible at the 8th layer, with a small probability of encountering 9th rank powerhouses. With his primordial spirit concealed, blending in, even if an extreme situation arose, he could simply abandon the primordial spirit. Although a medium-sized otherworldly battlefield was far more dangerous than the marginal Milky Way star region. But Lin Yuan wasn't going there with his identity exposed, so with it concealed, who would know he was the peerless genius of human civilization? Goddess of Wisdom, Lin Yuan immediately applied to the Goddess of Wisdom. Any human evolver wishing to travel to the battlefields of different races needed to apply to the 3 goddesses, otherwise, they could not get a battlefield pass, which would mean being undocumented and subject to attack from both humans and the different species. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, your application has been approved. The solemn and cold voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. As expected, it's approved. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. With strength reaching the 8th layer and identity concealed, there should be no risk in heading to the medium-sized otherworldly battlefield, which was evident from the Goddess of Wisdom's approval of the application. Plus, armed with the soul-settling pearl bestowed by Xia Qin's Supreme Being, he was even more secure. Although the soul-settling pearl was on his true body, the avatar could still activate it if subjected to memory contamination or similar tactics affecting the main body. It would temporarily free itself from influence and completely control the self-destruction of the avatar. Small-sized otherworldly battlefield. The Taiyin primordial spirit left the eternal spatial rift, exited the battlefield, and headed towards the chosen medium-sized otherworldly battlefield. Actually, the most origin force-saving method would be for the Taiyin primordial spirit to stay put and the Yang spirit to travel to the chosen medium-sized otherworldly battlefield. Once the Yang spirit arrived, the Yin god would depart and return to Qikuan main star. However, doing so would risk exposing both the Yang god and Yin god to the starry skies simultaneously. Lin Yuan would rather waste a bit of world-breaking origin force than take the slightest risk upon himself. Milky Way main star. Lin Yuan ended his cultivation. He scanned the scenes on the main star. The development is good. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. Under the management of his 4 8th layer and 2 7th layer subordinates, the Milky Way main star was thriving, and major forces like the nearby star domain trade associations were beginning to settle in. Continue taking stock. Lin Yuan's mind stirred, and he started to inspect his spoils of war. Hunting those special life forms, the alien lone walkers, earned Lin Yuan a great fortune, especially Shang Shan and Ao Du, 2 special beings that contributed to nearly 100,000 cubic universe crystals in revenue. Furthermore, the other special life forms and alien lone walkers also brought Lin Yuan substantial gains. After collecting recognizable treasures into a unified space bracelet, Lin Yuan began to inventory the remaining miscellaneous items. As special life forms and alien lone walkers, who had lived for eons, they occasionally acquired some treasures they did not recognize and would collect them. Now all these treasures of unknown origin and use had piled up in Lin Yuan's possession, almost as large as a mountain range. Take a slow look. Lin Yuan had a very simple method for dealing with these miscellaneous items of unknown origin and use, and that was to crush them. Any treasure that could withstand his blow without shattering was likely to have some significance. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Yuan's mind moved slightly. Hundreds of miscellaneous items suddenly began to deform and turn into chaff. Just as Lin Yuan was about to look away, seemingly having spotted something, his gaze fell on the pile of chaff. There lay a gray gourd, falling along with the chaff. This gourd, it blocked my strike. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. No matter what the use of the gourd was, at least its material was good, and it could be worth a few cubic universe crystals. Let's see what's different. Grasping the gourd, Lin Yuan applied a little force, only to find it unmovable, and his expression gradually changed. With his current strength, even a slight exertion of force could cause a planet's tectonic plates to tear apart and plunge into a mass extinction period. With his consciousness probing out and touching the gray gourd, Lin Yuan's expression subtly changed. Chapter 435 The Unimaginable Gourd. Please subscribe. Consciousness can't even penetrate it. This gourd. Lin Yuan's expression turned slightly serious as he carefully examined the palm-sized gray gourd. In the vast cosmos, many substances are extremely hard, very difficult to destroy, yet few can block the penetration of an evolver's conscious power. Conscious power is even more difficult to detect than the power of the world or the power of the soul, as it is a derivative of spirit will. With Lin Yuan's current mental will index, unless it's a treasure or rare treasure of the 8th layer, he could see through most of it, if not in minute detail. An 8th layer treasure or rare treasure. Lin Yuan touched the surface of the gray gourd, cold and with almost no resistance, as if it were the texture of some high-end alloy. What exactly formed this? For a moment, Lin Yuan couldn't determine whether the gray gourd was artificially made or had always been this way. Goddess of Wisdom, do you know what this gourd is? After pondering for a while, Lin Yuan decisively connected to the Goddess of Wisdom. As one of the 3 ultimate intelligence goddesses of human civilization, the Goddess of Wisdom has almost all known materials of humanity recorded. Be it treasures or rare treasures. As long as they had been uploaded by human evolvers, they would be documented by the Goddess of Wisdom. Therefore, one consults the goddess when in doubt. This is not just an empty saying in human civilization. Respected Galaxy Master, there is nothing similar to this object in the database. The solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. Nothing similar. Lin Yuan was slightly startled. The Goddess of Wisdom had only performed a preliminary scan, and to conduct a more in-depth identification, it would be necessary to send the gray gourd to the central star domain. Lin Yuan's spirit willpower could not penetrate the gourd, but that did not mean human civilization could not manage. However, even with just a preliminary scan, to get the Goddess of Wisdom to give a result of no similarity was extremely rare. In more than 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, had the countless evolvers of human civilization never seen anything? Not to say something exactly like the gray gourd, but at least there should be many roughly similar things, right? But the result given by the Goddess of Wisdom was none. Treasure, this must be a treasure. Lin Yuan constricted his thoughts and looked at the gray gourd in front of him. A normal item, even if never seen by the Goddess of Wisdom, would definitely have some similar information. I got this gray gourd from an alien lone walker. Lin Yuan began to recall that the owner of the gray gourd was indeed a 7th-rank different species lone walker. Compared to special life forms, different species lone walkers preferred roaming the universe, and after a long time, they generally collected many bizarre items. This gray gourd, which was kept in that 7th rank different species lone walker's space ring along with other objects of dubious provenance, was one such item. Clearly, the 7th rank different species lone walker had not discovered anything special about the gray gourd. Perhaps the other party only sensed that the gray gourd was extremely hard and could block the penetration of the will. Those different species lone walkers did not have the identification methods of the goddess of wisdom. In the vastness of the universe, the emergence of one particularly hard object is not unusual. Initially, Lin Yuan did not pay much attention to the gray gourd, thinking that it might be worth a few cubic universe crystals. Hard. Let's see just how hard you are. Lin Yuan gripped the gray gourd and began to squeeze with force. Terrible force began to subtly affect the surrounding void. It should be known that the physical body divine ability Lin Yuan had awakened was the mountain lifting, known as a divine skill of power. With Lin Yuan's 8th stage martial arts physical body, under the enhancement of the divine ability mountain lifting, he could easily crush a higher life planet. A regular 8th rank evolver wouldn't be able to withstand such a squeeze. This was the suppression brought by absolute power. One of the 9 supreme beings of human civilization was the ultimate in the Tao of the rule of power. With a mere gesture, pure force could tear apart millions of miles of the main world space. That ultimate supreme being of power, along with Xia Qin supreme being, was known as one of the 2 strongest supreme beings in terms of killing power in the human civilization alliance. Still blocked it. After squeezing with full strength for a short while, Lin Yuan released his hand and noticed not even a slight mark had been left on the gray gourd. His expression changed once again. Even the piece of 8th layer armor he wore would show some mark under such force. And that was 8th layer armor designed for defense, but this gray gourd did not appear to be related to defense, yet its sturdiness exceeded even the 8th layer armor. I don't believe it. Lin Yuan's thoughts flickered. Carrying the gray gourd, he arrived in his inner world. Whirl. The inner world now extended across more than 700,000 miles, having integrated 3 cosmic rare treasures, and coupled with Lin Yuan's own comprehension of the laws, was becoming ever closer to the real world. Go. With a toss of the gray gourd from his hand, the power of the world within the inner world surged tumultuously, sweeping the gray gourd away. The terrifying world power seemed as if to recreate heaven and earth, attacking the gray gourd from all angles. However, no matter how Lin Yuan stimulated the world power, the gray gourd remained unmoved, floating buoyantly under the immense suppression of the world force. Even the power of the world can't do anything to it. Lin Yuan's face grew solemn. In his inner world, he could exert almost as much strength as an invincible 8th rank who mastered a certain cosmic force. Yet even so, he still could not shake the gray gourd. Lin Yuan even had the sensation that even if he became an invincible 8th rank and advanced to 9th rank, he still would not be able to affect this gray gourd. Chapter 436 The Unimaginable Gourd. Please subscribe. _2 This gourd. Lin Yuan immediately felt it was somewhat troublesome. Study it for some more time. If I still don't understand, they'll just take it to the goddess of wisdom for a reward. Lin Yuan thought to himself that even if this gray gourd was truly an incredible treasure, if he couldn't use it, it would be as good as junk, just like its previous owner, and eventually ended up in his hands. A bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. Not to mention anything else, this gray gourd alone could resist the oppressive force of other worlds, probably worth a couple of cosmic rare treasures. In the following days, Lin Yuan tried various methods whenever he had the time. Since being forceful didn't work, Lin Yuan tried a gentler approach. For instance, he tried to align the power of his soul with the gray gourd. But it was of no use. He even placed the gray gourd into the origin sea within his inner world. Certain treasures, such as origin fine gold, crave the power of the origin source. But still, it was useless. The precious power of the origin source couldn't move the gray gourd at all. Several days later, Lin Yuan finally gave up hope. "It seems I am not destined for you." Lin Yuan stared at the gray gourd, his expression somewhat regretful. He knew this gray gourd concealed a great secret, but he just didn't know how to unlock it. To have a treasure mountain yet unable to enter, this feeling made Lin Yuan's mind complex. Should I try dripping blood? Lin Yuan suddenly thought to himself, though without much hope. The so-called blood recognition method is quite an outdated approach. In both the human alliance and among different species, the seizure is not uncommon, with many evolvers seeking to start off at a higher point, even breeding a replicated physical body integrated with special life bloodlines for their progeny. Thus, physical bodies are not fixed, and neither are bloodlines. The soul, and even more so the spirit will, is fundamental. The method of blood recognition, being limited to bloodlines, was abandoned by human civilization many years ago. Recognition methods are fundamentally based on the soul, depending on the spirit will. But now, Lin Yuan had no other choice, he was just trying randomly. Even if it still didn't work, it wouldn't be a surprise. Sigh. Lin Yuan exhaled lightly. He then raised his right hand, squeezing out a drop of blood. With Lin Yuan's current physical strength, if he had not intentionally squeezed it out, the blood would not have flowed out on its own. Drip. A drop of exceedingly viscous blood fell on the gray gourd. Lin Yuan's expression subtly changed. Due to the divine ability blood rebirth, Lin Yuan had absolute control over every drop of his blood. Even across great distances, he could sense its exact condition. But just now, as the blood dripped onto the surface of the gray gourd, Lin Yuan suddenly lost all sensation of that drop of blood. Not only that, the drop of blood that fell on the surface of the gray gourd suddenly merged into the gourd. So it needed blood dripped. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up, closely observing any changes in the gray gourd. Buzz. A faint vibration began emanating from within the gray gourd. The moment Lin Yuan felt the faint vibration, his mind disengaged from his body as if he had arrived at a boundless ocean of crimson red. Blood containing the power of rebirth aligns with the unlocking condition. A moment of clarity passed, and Lin Yuan heard a mental fluctuation by his ear, the meaning easily understood. After a long while, Lin Yuan once again opened his eyes. This gourd. Lin Yuan took another look at the gray gourd in front of him. At this moment, the color of the gray gourd began to subtly change. It was no longer a dull gray, but now had hints of crimson. From the brief contact just now, Lin Yuan knew that the gourd was brewing some kind of special liquid. This special liquid had incredible effects on life's transformation, but its side effects were tremendous, and only those whose bloodlines contained the power of rebirth could attempt to absorb this liquid. The power of rebirth. That must refer to my physical body divine ability blood rebirth, Lin Yuan thought to himself. In fact, once one reached a 7th rank evolver, even if their physical body was shattered, as long as their soul still existed, recovery was possible. But such recovery was merely healing, definitely not rebirth. What is meant by blood rebirth here is not a drop of fresh blood, but any single essence of life that can continually regenerate. Blood is merely the medium that carries the life essence. What kind of transformation requires such a prerequisite condition? Lin Yuan looked amazed. Up to now, Lin Yuan had not encountered a second evolver who possessed a similar blood rebirth ability. Even Lin Yuan's physical body divine ability did not originate from the main world, but from the central divine continent. It was only because Lin Yuan, in the central divine China world, had fully understood this divine ability and condensed a divine ability imprint that he was able to bring it back to the main world. Let's see what the effect is. Lin Yuan picked up the gourd and gently shook it, then turned the mouth downwards. After a confirmation from the gourd, Lin Yuan had preliminarily met the qualifications to use it. Moments later, the downward-turned mouth of the gourd condensed a drop of liquid. The liquid was crystal clear and crimson, as if it contained an entire crimson ocean. So beautiful, Lin Yuan stared at the drop of liquid, his spirits subtly beginning to indulge. Merely looking at it made him feel as if the drop contained the entire cosmic starry sky. According to the information I received, should I just drink it directly? With his consciousness returning to the outside world, the grey gourd mixed with crimson also returned to the exterior. The drop of crimson liquid was still condensed at the mouth of the gourd. The liquids inside the gourd, depending on their levels, come in 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Only by completely absorbing the crimson liquid and thoroughly transforming the physical body will the second color of liquid appear, Lin Yuan silently contemplated. Let's try it. With a slight mental movement, Lin Yuan let a drop of fresh blood float out from his body. According to the information from the gourd, absorbing the liquid entailed great risks. With a drop of fresh blood outside, even if something went wrong, he could quickly come back to life. Although Lin Yuan also left blood in Chikuan main star, it was too far away. Begin. Lin Yuan steadied his mind and swallowed the drop of crimson liquid collected at the gourd's mouth. Boom! In an instant, Lin Yuan felt his physical body starting to burn like a flame. Flesh and blood were burning, organs were burning, bones were burning, everything was burning. Then, under the physical body divine ability blood rebirth, everything Lin Yuan was burning started to rapidly recover. Thus, the burning force of the drop of crimson liquid and Lin Yuan's power of rebirth began to stalemate. Half a day later, Lin Yuan's body could no longer endure and suddenly turned to ash. As the effect of the crimson liquid dissipated, the scattered ashes quickly began to regenerate, and in a blink of an eye, Lin Yuan's form was reconstituted. What is this thing? Lin Yuan hadn't even started to evaluate, when he shockingly discovered that his reborn physical body, with its circulation of blood and qi, had actually doubled in strength. It was doubled. It was not a 10% increase. Even a 10% increase would have been unbelievable. At Lin Yuan's level, where his physical soul was nearing its limit, further transformation, further evolutionary transformation, could only be achieved by breakthroughs of the current realm. Or by consuming some rare cosmic treasures. But even so, the improvement obtained would not be significant, mostly a few %, let alone doubling. Lin Yuan couldn't even dare to think of it. No, that's not right. It's not just the physical body that's improved. The inner world. Lin Yuan's expression was one of astonishment as his spirit rapidly entered his inner world. Boom, boom, boom. The inner world was vast and boundless. The inner world, which originally spanned 700,000 li, now shockingly expanded to 1,500,000 li. The power of the world operated like the sky was falling and the earth was splitting, and under the heavens, the sun formed by the cosmic rare treasure primordial flame now appeared much smaller because it could not keep up with the expansion of the inner world. My inner world. It also doubled in size. Lin Yuan murmured to himself, somewhat in disbelief. Chapter 437 Interstellar Migration. Please subscribe. The size of the inner world. It was influenced by two aspects. The first was the internal factor. The second was the external factor. The internal factor was the strength of the physical body, and the degree of understanding of the space rules, among other things. Normally, the deeper the understanding of the space rules, the more core space models would be comprehended, and thus the larger the inner world would grow. As for physical strength, it was difficult to significantly enhance physical strength in a short period of time. However, slowly enhancing physical strength over a long period until reaching its limit was not difficult at all. So, for human 8th rank evolvers, there were basically no problems in terms of the physical body. As for external factors, there were some space-related rare treasures, such as the incredibly precious world fruit, which could forcibly expand the size of the inner world when it was being established. However, such an expansion was one time, and if a 7th rank peak evolver used the world fruit for the first time, they would create an inner world spanning thousands of miles. To further expand this inner world of thousands of miles would require the evolver to enhance their understanding of space rules to a corresponding degree, exceeding the understanding of a world spanning thousands of miles. But now, Lin Yuan's understanding of space rules had not significantly increased. He had not used rare treasures such as the world fruit. Yet, his inner world had inexplicably doubled in size. This was simply shocking. This? Lin Yuan took a deep breath. The inner world was the foundation of an 8th rank evolver, even affecting 9th rank evolvers, and even 10th rank evolvers. When two 8th rank evolvers fought, one with an inner world spanning 100,000 miles and the other 50,000 miles, without any other decisive factors influencing, the battle would end in a crushing defeat. The scarlet liquid in the gourd immediately doubled the size of Lin Yuan's inner world, and its effect on combat power would far exceed doubling. And, Lin Yuan carefully sensed for a while and discovered an even more astonishing fact. It was not merely an increase, but a foundational increase. What is a foundational increase? Normally, an 8th rank evolver starts with an inner world spanning approximately 100 miles. Afterward, by constantly comprehending the laws of space and enhancing physical strength, theoretically, if they mastered the complete space laws at the 8th rank, the size of their inner world would reach 10 million miles in diameter. This is the theoretical upper limit for an 8th rank evolver. Very few 8th rank evolvers could expand their inner worlds to such an extent, understanding complete space rules. Even some 9th rank evolvers haven't comprehended them, let alone 8th rank ones. Lin Yuan's foundational increase was not just an additional 700,000 miles on the 10 million mile basis, rather, for Lin Yuan, the theoretical upper limit of an 8th rank evolver directly became 20 million miles. This impact would definitely not be limited to the 8th rank, as Lin Yuan stepped into the 9th rank, and even the 10th rank, he would gain a tremendous advantage amongst peers at the same level. Incredible. Truly incredible. Lin Yuan's heart did not settle for a long time. Even he had never imagined that there would be such methods in the universe that could break the shackles of species. Worlds spanning 10 million miles were the shackles of human 8th rank evolvers. But certain special life forms had inner worlds exceeding this limit. For instance, the peak bloodline special life form Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan, these life forms have an upper limit far beyond that of humans. But there was no help for it. Species differed from each other. This is just the first drop of the scarlet liquid, and I have not yet fully assimilated this drop, and there are 6 more grades of liquid to absorb. What will the upper limit of my inner world reach? Perhaps it will reach how many million miles? Or even billions of miles. Lin Yuan's gaze shifted, looking once again at the gray-red gourd in front of him. If the size of the inner world reaches several tens of millions of miles or even billions, then even if Lin Yuan did not master some type of cosmic force, he could still grind those invincible 8th ranks into the ground. The so-called cosmic force was just another means to greatly enhance an 8th rank evolver's capabilities, just as a vast inner world could do the same. Opportunity. This is undoubtedly an invaluable opportunity, even for a supreme being, to shatter racial shackles, and even far exceed such shackles, is very hard to achieve. Lin Yuan pondered silently. Supreme beings towered above all, transcending the universe, able to cause permanent damage to the main world. But that was all by themselves. If it were for other evolvers to break limits and shackles, it would surely come at a great cost. This gourd must absolutely not be revealed, Lin Yuan decided internally. He could inform human civilization about the second way to join the Magic Jade Tower as an ordinary member because it had no impact on himself. Whether it's one member of the Magic Jade Tower or 10, it made little difference. And to comprehend all 3,333 evolution paths in a short time was definitely not possible. But there was only one gourd like this for Lin Yuan, told the goddess of wisdom. What would Lin Yuan do if a supreme being requested to borrow it? Continue. Lin Yuan shook the gray-red gourd. Then he turned the mouth of the gourd downwards. Before long, another drop of scarlet liquid formed at the mouth of the gourd. The drop of scarlet liquid Lin Yuan had previously ingested had not been completely absorbed in the end, but had transformed his physical body to ashes. To fully absorb the liquid, he must persist until that fire, which burns everything, is extinguished. Time passed. 6 months later, on the Milky Way main star, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Chapter 438 Interstellar Migration. Please subscribe. _2 There was a faint crimson flame burning within. The terrifying power almost spilled out, capable of easily burning Lin Yuan's flesh, viscera, and bones, forcing the blood rebirth, divine skill to be continuously activated. How could the might of that crimson flame be underestimated? He did not know how much time had passed. Suddenly, with a loud bang, Lin Yuan's physical body turned directly into ashes. In an instant, amidst countless ashes, Lin Yuan's body quickly reformed, returning anew. No wonder it's necessary to have methods like blood rebirth to open the gourd. Without such techniques, daring to absorb the liquid inside the gourd would cost more lives than one has. Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. Even with blood rebirth, Lin Yuan felt somewhat exhausted at this moment. Blood rebirth could not be used indefinitely, each use consumed some of Lin Yuan's power. Although it allowed for rapid recovery, frequent use was unsustainable. However, a smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. For the past half-year, Lin Yuan had spent most of his time absorbing the crimson liquid inside the gourd, not knowing how many times he had been reborn through blood rebirth. But the results were clearly visible. Now, Lin Yuan's inner world had reached a circumference of 2 million li. That was 3 times its original size of 700,000 li normally. To expand the inner world to 2 million li in circumference, it was necessary to fully understand 3,000 core space models. This was a necessary prerequisite. But now, Lin Yuan's comprehension of core space models was only just over 2,000, corresponding to an inner world size that should be 700,000 li. I wonder how big the teacher's inner world is. Lin Yuan thought silently, the body of Qikuan Star Lord being the starry sky wanderer Kuan, whose inner world's limit should exceed 10 million li by a lot. But that was the limit, even for starry sky wanderer Kuan, not many could reach the limit of their inner world. Human evolvers wanting to touch their limits needed to fully understand the complete space rules, and for starry sky wanderer Kuan, it wasn't much easier. He'll rest for a while. Lin Yuan stopped cultivating and planned to go out for a stroll. Just then, the voice of the goddess of wisdom suddenly rang out. Respected Galactic Star Lord, the current Milky Way star region has stabilized. Shall we commence interstellar migration? Interstellar migration. Lin Yuan was not surprised. This star region, also known as the Milky Way star region, was originally taken from the Shadow Tribe by humans. It was naturally the territory of the Shadow Tribe and contained no human citizens. Lin Yuan had come here early to familiarize himself with the environment and deal with some unstable elements. But the social classes were essentially ossified. Unless one became an evolver or a high-ranking citizen, it was hard to move across classes. But was it that easy to become an evolver? Not to mention a high-ranking citizen. But in these newly opened star domains, such goals were relatively easier to achieve. The various paths for becoming an evolver and the merit points needed for citizen rank promotion were opened up to a degree to encourage migrants in the new star domains. Although not much, there was at least a way to obtain them. Thus, many human citizens who were dissatisfied with their current status and had lofty ideals did not object to migration. Chikuan main star. Lin Yuan briefly reviewed the migration situation. Many citizens from the Chikuan star domain have come over. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. In the Milky Way star region, Shursan Peak Master's territory, if one were to choose to migrate, better to come to the Milky Way star region rather than moving to an unknown star domain. Not to mention getting the care of Shursan Peak Master, at least one wouldn't suffer from inferior treatment. Human civilization spans the universe, based upon its vast population. Lin Yuan thought silently in his heart. Like the insect race, one of the peak clans, the true members of the insect race were rare, and the vast majority of them were insect race warriors produced by the insect race hive. In various battlefields between humans and the insect race, many involved one insect race hive battling against countless human evolvers. The most terrifying aspect of the insect race hive was its ability to continuously produce insect race warriors, and although it consumed huge amounts of energy, there were hardly any apparent limitations. Even so, in the war between humans and the insect race, even if one ignored the influence of the top-tier combat power of the supreme beings, humans were only pressured by the insect race, far from being defeated. What was it that they relied on? It was the large number of human evolvers. And where did these numerous human evolvers come from? It was from an even larger population base. No. B520 Alien Battlefield. The Taiyin primordial spirit, disguised as a typical human 8th layer evolver, entered the human-controlled area of the battlefield. In a medium-sized otherworldly battlefield, 8th layer powerhouses were quite common, ranging from early stage to mid-stage to late stage, and even peak stage of the 8th layer had significant differences. Not to mention those nearly transcending the 8th layer known as the invincible of the 8th layer. An 8th layer invincible could generally dominate in a medium-sized otherworldly battlefield, and even if they had bad luck and ran into a 9th rank powerhouse, they still had a chance to survive. This battlefield's eternal spatial rift spans 10,000 meters, caused by the aftermath of a supreme being's actions 150,000 years ago. Lin Yuan's Taiyin primordial spirit eagerly anticipated as he followed the human evolvers towards the eternal spatial rift. Very soon, Lin Yuan saw that terrifyingly fluctuating eternal spatial rift. Let's see how much this boosts the accumulation of world-breaking origin force. Lin Yuan immediately dove into his inner world mentally, keenly sensing that majestic and grand door to the myriad realms. The spatial rifts in the previously encountered small-sized otherworldly battlefields ranged in size from 10 meters to several tens of meters. A moment later, Lin Yuan's eyes snapped open, a look of joy surfacing on his face. Chapter 439 The Invincibles of the 8th Layer. Please subscribe. No. B520 Alien Battlefield. The Taiyin primordial spirit stood still, looking towards the massive 10,000-meter eternal spatial rift. The accumulation speed of the world-breaking origin force here is much faster than in the small-sized otherworldly battlefields. Is the size of the permanent spatial rift, not the number, what influences the accumulation of the world-breaking origin force? Lin Yuan contemplated. He had tried before, sending the Taiyin primordial spirit and Taiyang divine spirit to different small-sized otherworldly battlefields, approaching the eternal spatial rifts at the same time. However, there was no significant enhancement effect on the increase of the world-breaking origin force. But now, approaching this 10,000-meter eternal spatial rift in the medium-sized otherworldly battlefield, Lin Yuan distinctly felt the difference. The initial speed of accumulating world-breaking origin force at the door to the myriad realms was 1 strand every 333 days. The spatial rift in the small-sized otherworldly battlefield increased this speed to 1 strand every 290 days. Now, Lin Yuan closed his eyes again to confirm. It's one strand every 200 days. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Accumulating one strand of world-breaking origin force every 200 days meant more than 2 strands could be accumulated in a year. Compared to the initial speed of accumulation, it had almost doubled. I currently have 17 strands of world-breaking origin force, Lin Yuan thought to himself. 17 strands of world-breaking origin force, in theory, could support him to traverse 17 times without interruption. However, that was the most basic traversal, belonging to random traversal. When Lin Yuan's strength was not yet strong, even random traversal could bring him significant improvement. After all, not being strong meant there was still a large distance to the limit. With endless dimensions and endless domains, even random traversal to a world would likely assist him. But now, Lin Yuan had already become an 8th layer evolver, and for a large number of worlds, even if he traversed to them, the help he could gain would be extremely limited. For example, the worlds Lin Yuan traversed to on his 3rd and 4th traversal, not to mention breaking through the shackles, it was questionable whether he could even recover to his peak strength. The most critical point is, after Lin Yuan's 7th traversal, which was to overcome the heart demon tribulation, he concluded that, the time Lin Yuan stayed in the world he traversed related to the world's own level. Simply put, the higher the level of the world, the longer Lin Yuan's stay, and vice versa. Shortly thereafter, the Taiyin primordial spirit found the best position near that massive 10,000-meter eternal spatial rift. This position maximized the accumulation of world-breaking origin force, eventually increasing the speed to 1 strand every 198 days. My inner world now, Lin Yuan felt the Taiyin world within his Qi Si Dantian. After reaching the 8th layer, even just a primordial spirit could open up an inner world. The Taiyang divine spirit created a Taiyang world filled with flames, and the Taiyin primordial spirit established the Taiyin world. However, influenced by various factors, the inner worlds opened by the original self, the Taiyang divine spirit, and the Taiyin primordial spirit, differed. The original self, holding both Taiyin Taiyang Taiji, with complete and perfect rules, initially opened up a world over 700,000 li. After transformation by the liquid from the mysterious gourd, the inner world had swelled to a size of 2 million li in diameter. Owing to mastering the Taiyang rule, the inner world created by the Taiyang divine spirit also reached 400,000 li in diameter, stepping into the threshold of the 8th layer peak. As for the Taiyin primordial spirit, the current inner world is only 200,000 li in diameter. It can be foreseen that once Lin Yuan comprehends the Taiyin rule completely, his Taiyin world will also reach a size of 400,000 li. Unfortunately, the liquid in that gourd only has effects on life with flesh and blood, and has no effect on energy life forms. The Taiyin primordial spirit shook its head slightly. The cosmos is vast, giving birth to countless lives, among which flesh and blood beings form the mainstream. Yet, they are only the mainstream. Besides flesh and blood beings, there exist life forms made of energy. So-called energy life forms are those without flesh and blood. Their essence of life is the soul or other ethereal energies. Strictly speaking, Lin Yuan's 2 primordial spirits could be classified as energy life forms. Compared to flesh and blood life forms, energy life forms have many advantages, such as being immune to most physical attacks, etc. Within human civilization, certain special bloodline traits and methods can temporarily realize the energy transformation of the body. But these transformations are nothing compared to true energy life forms. For the time being, this primordial spirit of mine will need to be stationed here. Lin Yuan glanced around. The medium-sized otherworldly battlefield he deliberately chose, aside from having a permanent spatial rift, was selected because battles of high intensity rarely occur here. This was to Lin Yuan's satisfaction. Should a high-intensity battle occur, it might lead to a scene like the original small-sized otherworldly battlefield, where human evolvers fled en masse. Of course, in most high-intensity battlefields, human civilization evolvers are generally at an advantage, actively hunting down different species. Milky Way main star. Lin Yuan was still in closed-door cultivation. The many trivial matters of the main star and the Milky Way star region were mostly delegated to his subordinates and overseen more closely by the goddess of wisdom. There weren't likely to be any problems. After once again being reduced to dust and returning through the physical body divine ability blood rebirth, Lin Yuan began to feel the changes in his physical body and inner world. The rate of improvement is getting slower. Lin Yuan's expression showed contemplation. The first time he absorbed that drop of crimson liquid, Lin Yuan's physical inner world doubled in size instantly. With each subsequent absorption, the increase of the physical inner world became progressively smaller. Lin Yuan wasn't surprised by this. The fact that the liquid in the gourd could forcibly increase the base size of the inner world was already incredibly astonishing. The White Light Star Master before him was an old 8th rank peak powerhouse of the human civilization and a good friend of Qikuan Star Lord. Although the White Light Star Master was not invincible at the 8th rank, his strength was absolutely at the peak of the 8th rank. In terms of the comprehension of space rules, he was almost no weaker than the Qikuan Star Lord. It was only because he hadn't comprehended a certain cosmic force that he was somewhat inferior to Qikuan Star Lord. An invincible 8th layer powerhouse was essentially still in the 4th stage of the 8th layer. The only difference was that they had comprehended a certain cosmic force that substantially increased their combat power, elevating them above the 8th layer, and even giving them the ability to save their lives in front of 9th rank evolvers. This is the thunderous heart you asked for. The White Light Star Master looked at Lin Yuan with a cheerful smile and then threw out a heart completely composed of thunder that seemed to beat. The Thunder's Heart was a rare treasure from an 8-star universe and could be regarded as a top-quality item among the 8-star treasures. As Lin Yuan's inner world expanded rapidly, it needed such cosmic treasures for refinement. He had learned from his teacher, Qikuan Star Lord, that the White Light Star Master had recently acquired this Thunder's Heart, prompting Lin Yuan to initiate contact with the latter for a trade. It happened that the White Light Star Master was returning from one of the battlefields of different races and passing by the Milky Way star region, so he took the opportunity to deliver it himself. Thank you, White Light Star Master. Lin Yuan immediately took out 12,000 cubic universe crystals. As a top-quality 8-star universe rare treasure, the Thunder's Heart often had no fixed market price but traded between 10,000 and 20,000 cubic universe crystals. That the White Light Star Master was willing to make the trade for 12,000 cubic universe crystals was clearly due to regard for the face of Qikuan Star Lord. Then the trade is complete. The White Light Star Master accepted the cosmic crystals and took another look at Lin Yuan. What path do you plan to take next? Comprehend a cosmic force and become an invincible at 8th rank. Invincible at the 8th rank. That's too hard, Lin Yuan said, slightly startled and shaking his head. Whether it was human civilization, other peak clans, or powerful ordinary clans, they all had powerhouses at the level of invincibility in the 8th rank. But to this day, no clan had succeeded in outlining a specific method to become invincible at the 8th rank. Each invincible 8th rank evolver was unique, and the cosmic forces they comprehended were all different. It's indeed very difficult to become an invincible at the 8th rank. As 8th order invincible beings, even when encountering a 9th rank evolver, such reverence was unnecessary, for evolvers at the peak of the 8th rank usually had means to save their lives in the presence of a 9th rank. But the insect nest shadow in front of them was a great existence of the insect race, towering above the 9th rank. Your target this time is the Galaxy Master, that peerless genius of human civilization. The insect nest shadow emitted a mental fluctuation, its gaze sweeping over the 5 8th order invincible beings. Among the peak clans, there was an unwritten understanding to avoid deploying 9th rank or higher beings, whether on battlefields or elsewhere, as much as possible. Even if it was to assassinate the Galaxy Master, a peerless genius of the human civilization, they would not break this understanding. The insect race had previously broken this understanding because a body of a supreme being from outside the world had drifted in. It contained an evolution path that had no ultimate end. There was hope to add another supreme being, matriarch, to the insect race. So, the insect race had directly overturned the table. But the Galaxy Master. The Galaxy Master was indeed a peerless genius of the human civilization, but could he eventually become a supreme being? The likelihood was that he could not. To the insect race, assassinating the Galaxy Master was merely an effort to reduce future losses on the battlefield. Your Eminence, that Galaxy Master has only newly ascended to the 8th rank. Even if he possesses the combat power of an 8th Order Invincible, one of us should suffice. Why the need for 5 to join forces? The 8th Order Invincible on the far left asked. Newly advanced to the 8th rank. The insect nest shadow glanced at this 8th Order Invincible, a hint of ridicule flashing in its eyes. You're tuning into the Path of the True Immortal YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.